Nosfero is a supernatural hero that is a cross between The Shadow, Peter Cushing's Abraham Van Helsing, and Lovecraft's Henry Armitage. The lone surviving member of the secret order, he is sworn to battle a cult of vampires dedicated to opening the door to the eldritch gods they worship. Striking from his crypt lair deep within an impenetrable mire, Nosfero collects the cult's various grimoire and artifacts in an attempt to learn the means of defeating them. Supernatural abilities allow Nosfero to summon Phantomas, a giant phantom hound that can travel through the nether to and from any location when needed. Nosfero's world is forever changed when he rescues a beautiful young maiden named Laurel from one of the cult's vile sacrificial rituals. Nosfero the Cryptwalker Volume 1 is my third Indiegogo campaign and will be a fully painted and lavishly illustrated pulp adventure story. Sensational, vivid, and uncompromisingly aspirational storytelling with an edge. Don't miss your chance to back Nosfero the Cryptwalker Volume 1. Available for a limited time only on Indiegogo. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? I am ready to work. My name is Shanth Enjeti. This is Shanth Enjeti Art, and I've been frantically trying to get all those new intros together and make sure that I've got let's see if I've got this working here. There you go, kids. Let me see if I got the audio where I need it to be. But trying to get everything set up for you and making sure that the camera's a little bit easier for me to see. There we go. Excellent. So we'll see if I can't boomer this whole thing up. So I've been working on this page and getting things a little bit more squared away so it's a little bit easier for me to film. Last stream, I was trying to switch things up with my camera and using my iPhone, which is what I'm using for myself up there, and the video quality was terrible, so it's nuts. So let's just see what's up. Yeah, Bogan Ray. Let's see who's here. So we've got Mike right here. We've got Lord Crackhead 33. We have got Jeremy Burtz. We've got Mo Biggs. We have got Lloyd Burton, the man. Lloyd, I was working on your head sketch idea this week. We've got Muttman, yo to you as well. We have got Dirk Clay, and we have got OC Steve, and then John, Lord Crackhead 33, all this on the farm just off Orwell Lane. It is good to see you, brother. Reagan Lodge, it's good to see you, brother. You're actually catching a stream start for once. I hear you, man. It's been crazy, man. Let's see what we've got here. Derek, Green Laser is here. Hello, Green Laser. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see here. We've got Sark. We've got Critical Blast. We have got John again. Engineer Wrecker. Yeah, everybody hit that like button. Let's move these things going here. And yeah, he sleeps less than I do at OC Steve. Yes. Hey, Mel, how you doing? It's good to see you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm going to be working like crazy. What's up, Michael? How you doing? Let me know in the chat if you want a link and you can come in and do, I don't know, you're working. So keep working if you're working, man. I know I was working to your stream, so it'd be hypocritical to make you work when you've got another stream later. But yeah, make sure you remind me when to send everybody over to Rob's channel if I'm still going, if I'm still vertical. So this page right here is one of the things I've been working on. I was also working on a sketch this week for Lloyd, and we'll have to see. Well, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but I've been working on a sketch for a head sketch, which goes to show you that these things probably are not technically just head sketches. They're kind of more like paintings, because you typically don't do a sketch for a sketch, but these things are they're meant to be something that I would put in a future art book, or that someone frankly would put on their wall and be happy to have. So that's kind of just how I go about it. That's the key. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm playing around with putting a female figure in for where there's the lightning on the side of the head. Hey, thanks, Lord Crackhead 33. Happy to hear you like it. And I was just kind of trying to figure out, how I could put that together in a way to where it's something, that someone would love to have. So that's kind of the process of it. And then I've also been just doing a ton of research on Gilgamesh. So at some point when Painted Death launches, I want to have, or even before, I want to have a Gilgamesh and Lucent conversation with Michael about it. So yeah, so here we are. So I'll walk you through a little bit about what I'm done on this panel. So the main thing has been getting the studio set up for the last couple of days. It may be hard to tell, but this is the fun part where I get out, the bigger brushes and start really roughing in the form here. And, it's kind of a crazy process, because I'll go back and forth on different things that I'm working on. And so today and this morning was a lot about getting intros improved for my channel. I've been doing a lot of different things, as those of you guys know, for Ethan's channel, which is a lot of fun, and in Celevision and things like that. But now that the campaign is in the the long run funding period, I thought it's important to kind of update things on my site. So let's see what we've got here. Yeah, you'll pop in for a bit. Cool. I'll send you a link, man. Hang on a second. Let's do this wash here. And watch a boomer in action, people. This is how it's done. Edit. I actually say things loud. I'll be like, edit, copy, paste. Sad. It's a sad thing, guys. It's a very sad thing. There you go, Michael. I just sent you the link, man. All right. Let's see. Have to work on your own, man. Yeah, I know. Thank you. It's, you know what it is? It's one of those, it's a fun thing, and I really love doing those for Ethan, and it's great. But it's because it's a lot of fun. I mean, and Celevision is such a blast to watch, and so it was great to do that kind of stuff. But you're right. When artists say a wash, what they basically mean is that they take they're taking a lot of watered down pigment, at least for me anyway, and kind of just glazing it over the top. But it can also be when you're putting down the initial ground for something. So it can mean different things, but for me, that's what I usually say. I'll say things like, I need to wash that back or knock that back. That's usually what I mean. You'll hear me say that a lot. Because so much of what I do is sort of stabilizing what you're looking at. So for right here, let me adjust the brightness on my screen so I can actually see if it's bright enough. That's a little better. But if you look at it, something like this, I've washed green, like a green, white, chalky kind of color over the entire thing, just to knock it back. Like I'll use terms like wash it, knock it back, and then marry things together. So in this case, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Book of Boba Fett's constant narration. Oh, I have not seen it yet. So I don't have Disney Plus. So I have not checked that out yet. But I'm curious to see how it goes. And yeah, we'll see. Back and forth from chat as I'm trying to get engine back in my project car. Oh no, that's not good. Yeah, you want to have an engine in that car. Unless it's the 1989 Batmobile MTV contest where they couldn't have the engine in the car. But if anybody goes back that far. So let's see here. All right. Hey, what's up? Is it Leandro? Am I pronouncing that right? Hopefully. Hell, guys, first time live on your stream. Excellent. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Much appreciated. Yeah, guys. It's cool to see a lot of new faces and a lot of new people in chats now. And I think that was part of the reason why I was trying to remind myself to just update the intro a little bit, because we get into a rhythm sometimes with these things, and we're so, we're busy working on the comics, busy working on things to help the community and everything like that. And sometimes I think it's important to remember that if someone's coming to my channel for the first time, I want to make sure that I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, is there something I can add to it? So we'll see. We'll see how that stuff goes. But I do enjoy it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And let's see here. So we've got, who else have we got here? Lord Crackhead, get everybody seen it. Excellent. Yeah, it's great to see you guys. I mean, it's there's so many different people who are streaming and doing work. And one of the things about, the stuff that I've been doing is, in order for me to paint, I have to have my studio area set up a little bit better. And I did a big move a couple of weeks back from one room to another. You actually can't tell the difference because I just rotated everything clockwise. You're backstage. Oh, there you are. I love that message. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Boomer Stream. How you doing?
Good to be here.
Let me see if I can figure this stuff out here. There we go. Can you still see the artwork okay that way?
Perfect. See it better, actually.
Oh, good. Because I'm trying to make
more of it.
See it. So great stream, man.
Thank you. I didn't know how that would go. Mel came in and said his beard's too fat. You need to make it thinner. So I just did that.
Oh,
I'm gonna put it on Twitter and let people give
Hold
suggestions.
on a second. Let me make us the same size for a second. Do you want to share it here or no?
Yeah.
Do it. Hey, what's up, Pops? Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, boomerific. Oh yeah, I put all the letters in boomer. That's pretty much it. What kind of paper are you using? So Dirk, I'm using oh, and hey, Buffalo Con, good to see you. I'm using 300-pound cold press Strathmore Gemini paper, and it's 400 series. That might be a little more info than you needed, but I'm always specific because I think about if I had to order it, or I had to walk someone through ordering it. But yeah, he's got a tough face to do. He really does. I was thinking about it while you were drawing it, and I was going, I wouldn't even know how to tackle that. And I love Illustrator. It's my favorite program.
It is. Look, it's quite fun when you can get it to work.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, yeah, it's very non-destructive. You just, if you make a mistake, it's not an issue. You just go back and change it. And like when I first put the Shane out, everyone was like, nah, his nose. I went too caricature. It's just a bit like I did with Patrick, like too much caricature.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just, took people's suggestions and he looks better. He looks like George Jetson. Exactly how he should.
Are you finessing it before I get a peek?
No, I'm sharing it there.
Are you? Oh, shoot. That's why I was like, oh, look at this. You got to walk me through this, Michael. I'm old. Look at this, guys. Oh, that looks great, man.
This looks like there's room for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 more little tats that we can add.
That's awesome.
I'm going to tweet that out and people can give me suggestions.
Oh my God, man. That's awesome.
John asks if I was looking at a reference. Yes, I was. I just had a still of Patrick up. I mean, not that it really, matters all that much, but
yeah, I've been deep diving into Gilgamesh because of you.
Going deep into the background. Yeah,
it's good stuff.
That the guys in the chat don't know. You sent me a link to some guy singing Gilgamesh in Sumerian, playing some ancient instrument, and it was oddly calming.
Yeah, it was very. I saw it and I thought it was very you. And OC Steve is saying Ultra Star hat at Michael Bancroft.
Yeah, there's a thing about the detail. Like, I'm happy to put detail on the arms for the tats because once I put it all on there, it'll be one element. It'll just look like a busy arm. But I think if I add too many details, so if I had the tats and the logo on the hat, it could start getting a bit too busy because there's a sort of aesthetic that I want. I want it to be quite simple, but I mean, I might if it's just like if there's using the star portion of the logo or whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
Go ahead.
We were saying something about Gilgamesh. Hold on a
Oh,
sec.
the musician, the Sumerian.
Oh yeah. I love folk music, like traditional stuff. I'll occasionally listen to Irish folk music, or I annoy my kids by doing some Mongolian throat singing.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, oh, no, like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, they love it. They love it. They don't love
Yeah,
it.
I
I love
love that stuff, man. No, but it's we may have been separated at birth. I don't know. I mean, genetically, I don't know how possible that is, but it's an amazing thing because that's the same kind of stuff I'm into. I mean, I got into mythology, Joseph Campbell, and all that stuff, and I think that I have a pretty solid foundation in that kind of work. And what I'm trying to re-engage with is where a lot of my real passion lives, which is schlock. I love schlocky stuff, and I love like in good schlock. You know what I mean? It's like 70s hammer horror films, things like that, where it's things that people did because they didn't know you couldn't do that.
it.
I love the high art that comes out of that kind of necessity. So gosh, not that I consider this schlock, but actually I don't know. It depends on who you ask. But I love Dawn of the Dead, the George Romero version, Night of the Living Dead, where you can clearly see people struggling up against their limitations and still doing great stuff. And I mean, it's just I love that kind of pulpiness, and so kind of melding the mythology with that is the fun bit. But it's kind of amazing that I found someone else who's really into that stuff that I could actually share nerdy stuff with like that.
Speaking
really
of
nerdy.
not schlock, but like making do with what they had and making something really cool out of it.
Yep.
And also a bit of modern mythology. So a
Mm-hmm.
modern take on some old mythology, actually. I watched with Mel Alien for the first time
Oh, so good.
2 nights ago. She'd never seen it. Now her dad loves it, but she's
Mhm.
not really a scary movie kind of person. But she saw the Alien, movies that made us, and I wanted to watch it. But she hadn't seen it, and I mean, I haven't seen that movie for so long, and I was just super impressed by how well they made it. They made that all the sets and everything. Just everything was practical, and you could see. And we were laughing because like, oh, it's just like people from the 70s living in the future. There's no touch screens. It's all buttons. But man, they made that ship look so real and unique.
It's amazing. Yeah,
and
I mean, it's
yeah.
And I was going to say, Leandro, you asked me, is that blood splatter from the decapitation being used as a border? It absolutely is being used as a border for this panel. Love to do stuff like that. And then OC Steve said Tom Savini is a genius. The special effects creator is absolutely that. Let's see. OC Steve says, I can watch Aliens anytime. I got too many editions of those films. Yes, absolutely. And let's see. There's one that I'm going to skip it. I don't know if that one needs to be read. I'm going to go to the next one. Michael's dying to see what it is. And then John, actually, I got to put it up. I'll put it up so we can see it a little easier here. Here you go. And then John says,
I'll be there in time.
I know, exactly. Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure you're there in time because I'm just gonna stream snipe it. So I'll just play that on my screen. But so the thing about Alien for me is I think it was it Dan O'Bannon who wrote that, has the best story ever. They were working, and actually OC Steve will appreciate that. They were working on their version of Dune, and when it collapsed, he was so upset and so devastated. I think he had to go check himself into a hospital because he was so depressed. And there's this great documentary on Jodorowsky's Dune, and it cuts to him and he goes, I mean, yeah, I was depressed. I cried. And then he goes, and then I wrote Alien. And it's like the best segue I've ever heard for like, So we basically, Ridley Scott just took the entire creative team that had been brought together for Dune, for Jodorowsky's Dune, and they made Alien, and they made a classic, which is one of those amazing stories.
But that's the thing. Like in 2021, I can sit down with Mel, who's never seen it, and watch it, and does it hold up? Seriously. Yeah, obviously some of the special effects are, dated, but there's everything else is so real that, like, the performances and the the story and the setup and everything, that you just that doesn't matter. It was great, and like I said, I mean, I've seen Aliens a bunch of times since I saw the original, but I hadn't seen Alien for a long time, and it was good. It was good viewing.
Oh yeah, it's a real work of art. I don't think there's a lot of perfect films out there, in my personal estimation. But I consider the original Alien to be a perfect film in the sense that it's a beautiful work of art, and it's a perfect example of what I think about with CG, which is you've got limited resources. You can't have this property, that you don't have the rights to make this film. You can't get the budget, or you get the rights, then you can't get the budget, and then you lose the rights. Create something original, put your money into something original. And I think that that's kind of, one of those things that I think that we need to remember as creatives. There's no reason you can't do something like Alien, but the thing is that, you've got to be able to, the whole appeal of that is the visual world, but that was designed by a comic book artist. That's Mobius. So on so many levels, and all the other French artists there. So I know all this, but oh my gosh. Yeah, Rob's saying my friend had never seen Die Hard until the other day. Oh, yeah.
That's bizarre. That's like, I remember some guy rang up a radio station once and said, I'm 25 years old and I've never eaten chocolate.
What?
And everyone was like, what? How does that even happen?
Yeah,
you got to watch Die Hard. I mean, I can't even remember how many times I've seen Die Hard.
Yeah, I have that movie fairly well memorized. Well, we did a stream, Gabe and I. That's why I'm actually solo today. Gabe couldn't make it for a stream today for Double Impact, but last time we did a discussion about Die Hard, which was a ton of fun. And I think he said we're going to do Lethal Weapon next, so we'll see how that goes. But I love Die Hard. Die Hard is huge for me. Love those movies. Watched a million times. Let's see here. Yeah, H.R. Geiger is phenomenal. Someone's saying in the chat, phenomenal. And then
phenomenal.
I've never had coffee, says Lord Crackhead. I believe that's a lie. That can't be true.
No, I've tasted coffee. But I've never actually had a cup of coffee. I'm the same. I've never been able to finish a cup of coffee. And I've made about 3 serious attempts. I blame my mother, who I begged for some coffee when I was about 8 years old. And she gave me the strongest cup of coffee you could ever make.
Yeah.
And so I still love the smell, but the taste must have some deep psychological scarring attached to it. The taste just does me in. I can't drink it.
Oh my God. Rob's saying that his friend said that the movie was meh. Well, it's a shame to lose a friend over something like that, but you do what you got to do. And then let me see here. I mean, it's interesting. I think that, how do I word it? Most of the people that I meet who like to drink aren't usually that wild about coffee, in my experience, like drinking a lot of coffee. And the same thing with smoking. You meet people who, drink coffee. I know so many people who drink a lot of coffee and can really, love cigarettes. And I know people who can't stand them. So it's a stimulant thing. I mean, some people don't need it, and I know people who are like, I can't function until I have a cup of coffee. So yeah, Lloyd Burton's like, coffee is a joy. Yep.
I drink copious amounts of tea, and that it's black tea, so it does have caffeine, but it's a much slower absorption into the body. That keeps me going, and that's how I get through my 14-hour days.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's crazy. Can't stand the smell of it, says Lord Crackhead 33. He's going all in. He's like, listen, crack is one thing, but coffee, that's out of order. And I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, actually, let me do this real quick because I want to try this out here. I want to add this to the stream so people can get a glimpse at how it's going over there. Yeah,
Well,
it's looking great, man.
I just tweeted out. I'm not going to touch it anymore.
All
So I
right.
just tweeted out the tweet, like what tats should I put on it, and then after that, maybe I'll do another stream where I take suggestions for background items. You know, people said you got the two oars, that toy that he dropped that time, the Boba Fett helmet.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. I mean, you don't want to make it too crazy, but
those original videos you did were things that I played. I showed Lauren. This is before we even met. I would take those videos and I would go, this is amazing. And it was interesting because I had no idea that you had been doing web comics and you had all this stuff with the Lucent. So when I found that stuff, it was so funny. I think it was, I don't know whose stream it was on. I think it was Ethan's stream where he showed the Lucent. And I was like, what? And I have to check this out, man. And it's amazing to think that I knew you for that and did not know that you did all that other stuff. So yeah, you are a Swiss Army knife, man. Seriously.
I had got that a lot, actually. You know, most people found me and my channel through the cartoons back in the day.
Wow.
And then gradually, you know, they put two and two together with the Lucent. But it was the same for a lot of people. I mean, that's understandable, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and it takes a lot. Anyone who's tried to build up a name for themselves or an audience will know how difficult it can be. And there's a lot of people that do things and you don't quite connect that that's the same guy. Like with you as well. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know, and people didn't know that you did the intros for Ethan.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, maybe
that
there's people on my channel who maybe know you more from your painting, and then they find out what he does them. And then there's people on Ethan's channel who know you as you know, a video editor guy.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh yeah, check out his art. And then they get blown away.
It was strange the other night too, because I was watching the stream and I was laughing about, and what do you have to kick out of here soon? You have to get rolling over to Rob's in a sec?
I'll leave about 5 minutes before he starts.
Okay, just making sure. But the thing about that was so funny is I wanted to send him a message last night about my first sketch I did of Cyberfrog. And, you know, I was totally rusty on it. It looked too much like one of his drawings. And he sent me back this message. He was just like, hey, this is really great, but kind of looks too much like another drawing I've done. So how about you try it again? It was the nicest. No. But I loved that. I love those stories because they're more fun to tell. And then Gabe and Rob were on there. And Gabe was like, Is Shanth in any of the CG rooms? Is he in any of these things? And Ethan's like, I think he is. I don't know if he is. And they're like, oh, no, he's not. And I remember thinking, like, it's so funny. There's so many things that are going on, as you know, where nobody kind of knows what each other is doing or where everybody is. People are just working with their heads down. And so it's kind of crazy that we even remotely understand where everybody is, when people are streaming, whose channel is doing what. You seem like you keep really good track of it. Did it take you a while?
I mean, I got into it, you know, it's sort of like a slow thing, you know, because I was there watching the streams, and then I see the new channels come up. I see them as they're coming up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you just kind of gradually meet people. I can imagine how overwhelming it might be for someone who's coming into Comicsgate new. But you know, it's sort of like that thing. Like if you already know all these things, then meeting someone new. I know if you worked in a university, so
yeah,
you know, when you're the new guy, you have to meet 150 new people. It's completely overwhelming. It takes you a year, but all the people who've been there for 5 years, they already know everyone. The new guy comes in, it's super easy for them to remember their name. That's sort of, I think, how it is. So the new stream pops up. It's it's, you know, easy to remember, but it must be completely overwhelming when you're like coming into it cold.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because I've been watching a lot of streams, but then getting used to the tech. Like I've only been having guests on it since John and Rob, essentially attacked me on that stream. No, but they were like, John was like, "Do it now, do it now." Oh yes, we've got Zaid is wait, I got to catch up with this. 16 backers from, oh yeah, that's right. 16 subscribers, I think you're meaning, from 1,000. So anybody who has not subbed to Phil's channel, and hey, what's up, Phil? Make sure you get over there and subscribe to it. The backers thing just threw me a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to watch everybody's channel grow. I still can't believe, that I'm up at 700 right now. And I think it's just, working on content and kind of getting back in a groove after the promotion phase. But it's overwhelming, man. It's a lot in a great way, but it's crazy because I was just behind the scenes doing stuff for Ethan, and there's something great about that,
Yeah, and I was kind of working away without anyone noticing me for a long time, and you get a bit comfortable with that too. But then you do want to grow and reach out, and so you got to get outside your comfort zone a little bit. And push yourself to do that. And yeah, it's I mean, I have no complaints about where I'm at at the moment in the whole grand scheme of things.
Me neither. Yeah, I mean, Gabe is great for that too, though, because Gabe is always like, whenever we have our chats afterwards, he's always giving me really good feedback, and he's kind of like I don't know if he's an extrovert or not, but he really knows how to put himself out there. So it's a good match when we're chatting. Oh, and let's see, we've got speaking of been loving Mike Barron's appearances recently. Oh yeah, so Leandro says, speaking of EVS, will Mike Barron receive an intro for Kings? Yes, he will, and that's part of what goes on behind the scenes, is trying to find that time.
How many have you made now?
Oh my God. I've probably worked. I was trying to think of the hours because I have a giant file on it. I've got to have made, oh God, I don't know how many videos. I haven't counted them up yet, but every Comicsgate Kings intro you see, a bunch of extra videos, some music mixes. It's got to be like 20 or 30 videos now, I'd imagine, at this point. But I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But it's been easily, the file with all my Comicsgate stuff for Ethan is immense. So yeah, I have hundreds and hundreds of hours, easy hundreds of hours on that stuff. But it's just to make sure that it looks, just to keep pushing for Comicsgate, man. That's what it is.
There's like I have so many ideas for that stuff. But you're right. It's just time. Like I used to love doing funny videos, sticking people's avatars or faces on videos and making little like all that sort of stuff. It's so much fun for the channel.
Yeah.
It's but then I look at how much work I have to do. I counted up the pages I've added to Painted Death.
Yeah.
Since I've been laying it out. And the reason I add them is because, I mean, you'd know this, creating a comic yourself, that when I turn the page, I want every double page turn to have its own mini arc. Yeah. So you've got the overall arc of the story of the book, but I want each page to have its own mini arc. So something happens on a page, and then that. It's not that it gets resolved, but it's more like a beat.
Yes.
So it's like that part comes to an end, and then that last panel should leave you on a little mini cliffhanger. To get you to the next to turn the page, essentially.
Yep.
I want that on every single page, on every single one. And it's that's the way I kind of wrote the story. So there's these beats to it. And but then when there was this one scene where it just was not working, and I was like, well, there's only one way to resolve this. What's being said in that last panel has to lead to a new scene. And it can just, the new scene can just be 2 pages. But then, you know, and then it's like, man, I'm adding pages. It's like 15 new pages already. But I think that's going to be it. Yeah. Look, when it's work, it's time. It's just a lot that goes into it. So, you know, then I think I really can't be getting too distracted on other stuff. But then you think, but that other stuff is entertainment for people, and that's promotion. So it's all a big juggling act. It's like the plates, you know, you're spinning plates, and you got to make sure that they're all running at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and have a good night, Aldous. Yeah, for me, you know, like a good example of a day for me would be, you know, when things like that happen is I woke up, I was getting ready for something. So I had a certain amount of time set aside for the day. So I know my schedule pretty well on Nosfero. And, but Ethan sent me a message. I woke up to an email. I think he sent it shortly after I went to bed. It was like 5 a.m. He woke up and I had just gone to sleep. And he said, can you do an intro for Comicsgate Kings? And using this Ghostbusters thing. I said, could you make it Ghostbusters themed? And I was like, I can't make it Ghostbusters themed. But that was, I worked on that. I did a short version of that up until that show. So when you see the first show where the short version of that intro happened, I did it from that morning up until like 4. And then I just go over to my desk and I start working. It's just nuts.
Yeah. People, it's like these things do take so much time. To do, but you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of, it's all part of the law of CG and what we're doing here. I do think I have to go. I'm going to go make myself
go say hi to Rob for me, okay?
Cup of tea, and I will. I'll see you around out there. I can't wait for a Gilgamesh talk.
Yes, we're going to do one while I paint that piece. Okay. Oh wait, hey, before you pop out, hang on 1 second.
Yep.
It's so rough. Like I just did a scribble of notes, but this is like the start of a scribble I was working on the other night. So I'm working out like what the layout's going to be. So there you go.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
All right, brother.
I'll see you later.
Have a good night. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Yeah, sleep is for the weak. Hey, what's up, guys? So let me see. All right, take care, Aldous. We'll see you soon. Jerry Birds. Yeah, do not come. That was another one. It took a little bit of time. We've got Hail to Zaid Comics in the chat. Excellent, guys. Yeah, and yeah, everybody sub to Phil's channel if you have not yet. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for checking it out. And I do appreciate everybody enjoying the videos and the intro videos. That's why I do them. You know, it's you know, the whole Incellivision thing was another fun one. I did 3 or 4 versions of that before I felt like I got it right. So we'll see. Let me see if I can move this camera because it's bothering me. There we go. I keep painting out a stream because the natural arc of my arm is going to be off camera. So here you go. So when I'm doing something like this, I try not to have my panel borders all be rectangles. In some cases, I try to actively avoid it because when you're working, you want to have some kind of flow. So right here, I'm more than likely going to be doing a much more organic panel edge right here, just to give it that little bit of extra power. So you can see that the panel border as it stands right now up here is kind of a broken panel border. And yes, that's true. Absolutely. You make your video intros. Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is in terms of that. So I'll have to do a oh dear. So if we've got any mods in here, if we could get rid of our standard links, we must have arrived. We've got the insane links happening here. Actually, maybe see if I can grab this one. Unless Lord Crackhead beats me to it. You never know. There we go. Let's see if we can get rid of that. There we go. But yeah, no, I'm going to do a video at some point on how I do those. And it's very, very frame by frame. So it's a very labor intensive process. And yeah, I mean, it's funny because the biggest trick is to get them all to have a different quality to them too, which is why, you know, when I'm working, I'm thinking about like, how do I put this together in a way to where when Ethan is playing them, you know, in different orders, but essentially one after another, they're not all the same. So the Aaron Lopresti one, was a little bit of a breakthrough for me in that regard, because I was able to do something that I thought was interesting that would play off of the other ones. So Lepresti's was a good one. Cecil's was really fun too. Oh, thank you, Rick Saylor. I appreciate that. Yeah, Rick Saylor says loves those intros. Yeah, those intro videos are really fun, and a lot of people are doing videos for Ethan. I think right now, I'm not sure who else is doing stuff, but I see some really cool ones up there, and I think Ethan does some as well. But yeah, so my hope is that I'm going to get to Mike Barron's at some point this week. I just got I did a rework of Dale Keown's because it's such a low res file. I was really trying to kind of save it and pull it out of the fire. So we'll see how it goes. There we are. Right here. And let's see who else we've got, John. I think the different qualities is why people are surprised to find out they were all done by one person. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a actually, I should see if I can figure that out here. Hang on a second here. Let me see if I can show this here. File, find. Let me see if I can find this here. And I think I have it on here somewhere. Nope. Let me see here. Is this it? No. Just want to see if I can find, because I did do a mashup, I think, of one. God, I've done a lot of intros. This is nuts. Billy Tucci's was fun. There's Dale's. There's Frega's. And let's see here. Nope, not that one. I don't know if I have it on here. Let me see here. Nope. Yeah, I'll try to track that down. I'm not exactly sure where I have that. Is it under? Oh, wait, I take that back. Let me see here. That's an M4A. That's Comicsgate Kings. Yeah, I'll have to track them down because they're immense. Like I've done like 2 or 3 versions of God, there's Art T-Bears with the fish and without. But at some point, I'm going to get those on there for you guys so you can take a look at it. Holy cow, I have a ton of things open at this moment. But yes, unique body chemistry. Now, that was fun. Let's see here. Leandro, I'll go into Cecil with the hello echo. Yes, that was fun too as well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a really fun one. I loved doing that one. Lloyd Burton, I really like your video intros, but your art is a totally insane level. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lloyd. Much love. Yeah, I'm having a fun time. Your sketch is going to be killer. Unique body chemistry. Yeah, that was a fun one. Agreed with Lloyd Burton with all the videos. Video talk. Hope you know your artwork is just as appreciated. Oh yeah, absolutely, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's for me. It's just a way to make sure, like I'm going to be spending a lot of time on making videos for my channel as well. But yeah, the artwork has been my priority forever. That was just a complete and utter fluke. I just kind of fell into that, and it just goes to show, one of the things that Michael talks a lot about, and that I've been thinking a lot about lately, is how much work a lot of people do behind the scenes in this community. Like when we talk about the mods, we talk about the backers, and Michael was taking some time I think it was last stream, to celebrate people who have really been there for the channel. And I think that's what kind of helps you to build a rapport with people and people to trust that you're actually kind of serious about this thing. Last stream, Ethan was talking about why he's so I don't want to say suspicious, but reticent when he's interacting with people, and was talking about some of the people that he's had some tough experiences with. And I remember those those times and what they were like, and how hard that was for him. And I think that one of the things that for me that has been a really good thing to consider, and probably be good for Ethan to think about too, which is because I know how stressful it is. I've been there. I have a general rule of thumb, and it probably doesn't always work, but I think it's been pretty effective for me, is that when I was in high school and I started dating, I remember I came to this realization that the average person, the average crazy person, cannot keep their crazy in for more than a couple of months. And so once you, and certainly not for a year, they're going to blow up on you. Like things are going to go completely south. And so for me, I always think that if you look at anybody that Ethan has been, burned by, it was usually it's pretty quick. It's surprisingly quick. I don't know how many of those situations lasted over a year. And so I think it's just another good sign of like get to know people over time, you know. It's get to know people and at a certain point, it's like people have to be able to, you know, trust one another, but it's a good sign that if someone is there just to kind of come in and get what they want to get and get out. They don't put in the kind of time that a lot of us have put into Comic Skate and CG. I mean, it's a big deal to come out as a part of this community and work to support it. And I put in a lot of time to it because it's important to me, and it's been great to meet so many of you who are putting that time in and who appreciate it and really know how important it is. And so, yeah, it's one of those things to where I just, it's tough. I always try to tell my kids, you can't go through life, being completely suspicious of people all the time. But at a certain point, you are on the other end of that, you have to make sure that you're learning, how to not get burned by people. So it's not an enviable, position, and certainly I was there for a lot of, watching a lot of that and the play by play of it. And, I hope that Ethan knows that so many of us who've been there and understand it, completely. You can always use detective technique of antagonism to find the crazies. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a way. That's a way to go about it. It's I love that, antagonism to find the crazies. I was thinking of the Sherlock episode where he shows you can get more information by presenting the wrong thing, and people will correct you with the correct thing. So yeah, I think that's probably there's something to be said for that. Something to be said for that. But yeah, I mean, it stings, man. It really stings when you run into that kind of stuff. Yeah, eventually people show their true colors, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, it's but I think in a lot of ways it's a relief. Like if you've known somebody, my experience, or at least how do I word it? Most of the times where I've known somebody for a little while, and gotten burned, I didn't really know them in any kind of regular capacity. Like, people you see every now and again. And if that happens, you can't really add up that time, and count it towards anything. And, but it's people, there's a certain level of kindness and generosity that I've seen from people that you just can't fake it. Like your desire for payback is so strong. Like most people won't allow themselves to do that kind of thing for very long, who are, all about themselves. It's a tough thing to fake. I will say this, that the strongest relationship, expect the best, but plan for the worst, John. You're absolutely right. And let's see here. You could always use detective. Agreed with Lloyd Burton. Yes. Okay, great. So yeah, I mean, for me, what I tend to say is that my longest, relationship outside of with people has been with my artwork, and nobody who isn't, super motivated with their work is going to put in the kind of time that so many of us put in with our stuff. And, it's kind of sounds funny, but when I have, what I always say is that when I was teaching college, and I think someone asked me this, John, did you ask me, who was it? Someone last stream asked me if I missed teaching. But there were so many different things going on. I forgot to answer. I don't know if I was on somebody else's stream or if I was on my stream. Let me know in the chat if you asked me that about, do I miss teaching? Someone asked me that the other night, and I can't remember who it was. But I didn't get around to answering that question. So I must have missed out on that. So let me know, John, if that was you who asked me that. Let's see here. Oh, yep, it was you. So here's the I did have an answer for it. So I miss I love teaching. I don't love bureaucracy. So I miss good students, which is to say not people who have got a lot of skill, but people who are there to work. But at a certain point, what has happened in education and what's happened in almost every facet of our culture is that people what an art school is now and what teaching is now as an industry, as the education industry, was so much about and has become so much about not learning, but um, but how do I word this? When when you went to art school back in the day, and I'm not saying this is going to sound so insane because I know some of you guys work in education, so you'll know what I mean. But there was a time in education where you went in and the teacher was an understood expert in their field, like whether or not what you thought of them was irrelevant. And the way that it was set up was for students were to come in and get information and learn. And yes, we'd have lively discussions. Yes, there would be all those things. Although, I mean, granted, my discussions were somewhat lively, but it's not like people were like, losing their minds or whatever. But at a certain point, what happened is we got a generation of students who do not know how to not be the center of attention. And when you don't know how to be the center of attention, when you're in class, there's a couple of things that happen. People start looking at their phones because they're not invested when other people's artwork's being talked about. They're not interested in what the teacher has to say unless it's praise. And they feel slighted the less they feel like they're a center of attention. So what a lot of people do, what a lot of students increasingly have been doing is going onto social media after class to make themselves get that dopamine hit they didn't get in class and start talking about what happened in class and what their issues were and drum up drama. And that's not education. That's like being in a mentally ill situation. So yeah, if I could just teach art by people who were there to be critiqued and criticized, but a lot of times what happened in art education, and my friend of mine actually wrote this at the school he teaches at, is that increasingly visual art students started to see the classroom as a stage on which to play out their psychodramas. So that I can't stand. So for me, I just can't bring myself to invest time when the way that the industry is currently set up is for administrators to placate every insane demand that students make. It's not accreditation chasing, although that's interesting because the accreditation, I'll give you a good example. Rhode Island School of Design, my alma mater, just dropped out of, and it made a little bit of news, but it was kind of shocking. They just dropped out of the, I think it's NASAD accreditation body because they were like, we want to do more online stuff. We want to do whatever else. And your accreditation is so strict. So the people who were like the center of all these bodies, when it doesn't suit them, they drop out. So they run the accreditation stuff. So it's kind of like it doesn't really have as much teeth as you think it does. So that's not what it is. It's really about a lot of people wanting to cut costs with their employees, and they do that by using a rabid and easily activated student body to go after teachers who cost too much or who won't fall in line. So they basically become almost like they'll report back what they are hearing in your classroom if it bothers them. And in the past, what they would do is, and I'm talking about non-things. So let me see if I can give this. So if anybody wants to understand what art college is like, and someone should do a new version of this, Art School Confidential is still accurate on a lot of the kinds of things that happen at art school for anybody who hasn't seen that movie or read that comic. But if I told you some of the things that I've experienced during my teaching career, it would blow your mind, like how like the disconnect that people have right now with it. What's up, Shadowhawk Bags? Hale, how you doing, brother? But it's really funny. It's a really strange environment, and I wouldn't oh, it's tough, man. I gave 18 years of my life to it, and I was so into what I was told, the free speech thing and all that stuff. It was painful to watch that stuff go out the window. So yeah, I miss teaching people, but I know that as a teacher, all right, Lloyd Burton, get some sleep, my friend. Yes, and you take care. But I'll tell you this, it's like and I gotta see what we're seeing here. Oh yeah, sorry, Leandro, I missed your thing here. It's sad to think that people feel this need to burn Ethan when behind all this pageantry. He genuinely, yeah, he absolutely cares for his fans and friends. He's got a huge heart. But I will tell you a little thing that I think is important. Yeah, he flipped the movement for the better. Absolutely. Noob CG creators should appreciate to a degree the constant attention he brings to it. Yes, he does. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Let's see. Everybody's saying goodbye to Lloyd, and everybody's saying hello to Shadowhawk Backs. Yeah, I think that it's not really rocket science. Like at the end of the day, people have a finite amount of energy, and I think your boy Zach said it incredibly well. Is that and this maybe speaks to something that is important, which is or is important to kind of distinguish between what attracts people to any individual creator on YouTube. Who knows what that is? It can be, they work hard, they do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, you've got to have some kind of charisma or some kind of something that draws people in. And it's a little bit of a nerve-wracking thing to think about, but you really can't control it. Okay, perfect example. Why do people like, they're outside of quality or skill level that you're seeing? Why does somebody want to buy a comic book? Why does somebody want to, why did people buy Rob Liefeld comic books or Todd McFarlane comic books or Jim Lee comic books over other stuff, or Dave Stevens? Take any artist. It's like, why do some people find this comedian funny and this other person not? It's both something you could describe it technically, but how do you manifest that kind of thing, right? So there's this bizarre thing that happens where you've got people like your boy Zach that everybody wants him to be making more videos, but he's an introvert. And so he feels very fatigued by that process. I don't think Ethan feels as fatigued by that process. And so what I think ends up happening, or at least what I've experienced in education, and I've experienced in a lot of different things, college, when I say education, I mean college, is that when people see a teacher getting attention who are addicted to attention, they assume that that person is equally addicted to attention, and they feel like that attention is a finite resource, and if that person could be tore down or removed, they would then get their attention. And it creates this it's kind of the same thing as a lot of the Marxist stuff right there, but it's an insane thing, and it just leads to people going nuts. So I don't wake up in the morning and go, why? How do I word this? You guys have seen my streams, you've seen me paint, you know what I do. I like to come in here. I like to paint, love to talk to you guys, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to improve. I'm not just like, oh, this is who I am, take it or leave it. That's not how I'm working. But, I've been able to fill classrooms and give lectures and do things for a long time, and I don't know what that is. But as an introvert, when I see Ethan doing this stuff, it's exhausting to see, and it's interesting because when you watch certain people. Who can explain why Ethan works his ass off, but he is incredibly charismatic. People get kind of like, yeah, I know, I've been watching his stuff for years now. That people to see that and to think like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's like, why are people paying attention to this Todd McFarlane and not me? My brain just doesn't go there. And I think if you're the kind of person who feels entitled to the highest level of success, regardless of what your audience thinks about it, you have like this, it breaks your mind. It breaks your reality to see somebody getting your attention. And the more people are addicted to attention, the worse it is to work with them, because it's not about the job anymore. And for me, that's why I've done all those videos working behind the scenes for Ethan. It's because I'm not addicted to attention. I'm addicted to, if I'm anything, I'm addicted to work, but I actually want to help people. You know what I mean? Let's see what we got here. All right. I was a camp counselor for many summers, which was fun. Oh, really? Tell me, how was that? How'd that work out? Yeah, I'd be curious to know if you ever ran into any of this stuff. People not being able to deal with, not being the center of attention at a camp counselor. I know it happens at probably every level of education. There we go. And so now I'm going to put in some blood here. So when the sword goes through this character, I want to make sure I go a little comic booky with it and put the blood in, because that's a big thing for me, is making sure that it's not completely, illustrative, which none of the stuff I'm doing right now is. A lot of it is is very much about, keeping that color theory, color pop of comics. So when this sword comes through this character, I want to make sure that I'm getting that red in there really well. But yeah, I mean, it's I think the most difficult thing about leaving teaching, just to go back to what I was saying, answering John's question, was it was the death of, in a lot of ways, it was a very healthy and good disillusionment that happened over a number of years of realizing what some people were about who are working in education versus others. Leandro says entitlement is in the indie scene is a death sentence because eventually your colors typically will show. Yeah, you're right. But so, okay, John, are you still? Let me know, John, if you're still with us. I don't know if you've popped over to another stream, and that's cool. If you have, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. But I want to show you guys, like when people ask me about education, I fished out this book from my grad year, my grad school education. So when people talk about it and think about, like, oh, like, what is it actually like? Hang on a second. I'm gonna make myself smaller just to spare all of you, but also because it's like I'm taking up too much damn space. I don't need to have my dang head in there so big. But oh, cool, excellent. Methodologies of art. So here I'm going to tell you a story about what someone who comes in wanting to teach painting, color theory, and art at an art college, what they're up against. This is my art history book, and this to get a master's degree, which is what you need to teach college in most instances. And this is a book I actually got. It's assigned. It has new chapters on colonialism and other things. Yeah, that's totally fine. No pressure. Hey, what's up, Admiral Wackass? Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, what about methodologies of art? So I'm going to read you some chapters so you understand what the college level teaching is like. So this book has a bunch of different sections in it. And one of the sections, here's the chapters, if I can find them. Where's the chapters? Yeah. But trust me, this is big. Here's a list of the chapters. Sorry for the strobing, and how many pages they take. So you've got what is art, formalism and style, iconography, contextual approaches 1 and contextual approaches 2. So there's only 2 things for the contextual approaches. I want you to take a look and see what the contextual approaches are. What are the 2 contextual approaches that we're talking about in this art book? Can you see them? Is that coming through clear? Hey, what's up? Thanks, like Kick One. It's good to see you. And thank you for your subscription. We're chipping away at that 1,000. And I appreciate it, man. So let's take a look at our contextual approaches to art and what we have. Yeah. This is an actual textbook. The greatest myth that's going on right now, that and I may do a video on this at some point, but I feel bad whenever I say I should do a video on this and then I don't get to it. So I'm going to talk about it right now for a second. Because this is really important, right? Is that people think that this stuff is a conspiracy. It's about as much of a conspiracy as Starbucks selling coffee is a conspiracy. It's in the books. Do you guys understand? It's in the books. So now I'm going to explain to you what these things are. Here's the chapter heading. You ready? This is Reading with Uncle Shanth here. Let's enjoy this. Contextual approaches. 1, Marxism. Here it is. The 2 most recent historical methodologies that consider the economic and social context, listen to that for a second, economic and social context of art are those which have been influenced by Marxism and feminism. To a certain extent, these methods can be seen as reactions against formalism. So wait a second. So Marxism and feminism are reactions against formalism, or which is to say objectivism, which is not what we're about anymore. Hey, Miss Good Stuff. Good to see you. Heading to bed, but absolutely. Thank you for stopping by and hitting the like button. I do appreciate that, and have a great evening. So here's the best part of it. To a certain extent, these can be seen as a reaction against formalism and as expanding iconography to include, it's not expanding anything, it's limiting it, to include aspects of the cultural context. And there you have contextualism. And now we get to, this is my favorite bit. because the Marxist method, let me zoom in so you guys can see this, because the Marxist method predated and influenced the feminist method in its present form, we begin with Marxism. So how many people who come into these classes to go to get their degrees understand that feminism is seen in this context? The feminist approach to art history is predicated on the idea that gender is an essential element in understanding the creation, content, and evaluation of art. Like the art historians who have been influenced by Marxism, just like them, feminist art historians object to formalism on the grounds that works of art as well as artists reflect their cultural context. So right there, you have just completely destroyed objectivism and objectively looking at art. And that is what I was teaching some level of objectivism, some level of formalism as a teacher. And I had no idea that as I was growing the colleges and growing the departments I was teaching in and had packed classes, financially, I was never really able to advance or enjoy all the perks that certain professors did. And it's because all of the resources that I was moving were being moved over to people who were teaching this crap. And the newest edition of this book, I'm sure you'd be shocked to find out, goes into depth about colonialism and every woke agenda there. Now, the book is $40 to get the new editions of it. So you actually can't see what's in it, but it's a required text. And this was at University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. This was at a state school. This was not at some fringe college. And this book is still in print. So yeah, don't kid yourselves about, what this stuff is actually about and what's actually going on. And I got to a point where I go, I want nothing to do with supporting institutions that are promoting these ideas. And it's been going on in waves and echoes since the 30s, but it's hitting critical mass right now. So yeah, that is what I don't miss about teaching college. It's so completely insane. I had a president of a college stand up at one of his first faculty meetings and say that he was politically open-minded because he had a dress that was made out of the American flag in his office and a Chinese communist propaganda poster in his office. And I went, that's not a political diversity. That's insane. Like, you have a flag of something that's killed millions of people under that flag. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, well, I'm doing well, Scottsley. This is what inhale Scottsley. Sorry, this is a weird time to come into my stream. Sorry about that. But yeah, to say that it has been like it was like a much like leaving a cult. It was a horrifying process. But I have a friend whose dad was killed by the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, so I will never roll with that at all. It's completely insane and despicable that people, living in a country with the protections that we have, would put into, like, the whole purpose of education in this country, particularly when you're taking federal tax dollars, should be to teach people the value of the freedoms they have to say what they want to say in this country. That's why people die trying to get here. And that's why artists in particular see us as a light, a guiding light for free expression. And when you back Comicsgate, when you back my book, when you back any of the artists working, and frankly, when and this is important too, when my fellow Comicsgaters support what I'm doing, whether, and I don't, like I said, I don't take anything for granted, but I've definitely, feel comfortable saying I've put my time in, to the cause and my hours in, and I intend to continue doing so. Let me be clear. I don't think it's fait accompli by any stretch, but I didn't get here because I walked away from and it was very difficult to walk away from an environment where, I had worked in for 18 years, and it was a decision that it required a lot of strength, and a huge commitment on me and my wife's part, to go in this direction, go away from that direction. So I am absolutely, I'm absolutely committed. Maybe I should absolutely be committed to what we're doing here. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? Good to see you in here again. I know you probably were in here earlier, but I'm just noticing when you said Hail Scottsley. Yeah, it's guys, it's so completely disheartening. And what's worse is so many students have no idea. They'll figure it out at some point, but they have no idea. They're spouting this stuff and they don't know they're spouting exactly what they were trained to think. Like, they think that they come to these ideas on their own. No sane person would go off to art school and come out a Marxist unless it wasn't being thrown down their throat constantly. And my book and the stuff that I'm doing is the antithesis of that stuff, which, again, going back to Ethan and thinking about people like C.S. Lewis and other people who, to be honest, that I admire. And I think, how do I word it? The second that you feel that people are entitled, or people feel like they're entitled to your generosity and your kindness, it stops being charity and it becomes something else. And the belief that I was taught in the classroom, and that what started to be a bigger and bigger factor of it is everybody deserves the same opportunity, but not everybody deserves the same grade and the exact same critique. And that is an absolutely pathological problem. If you send your kids to art school, the person who doesn't do their homework and barely shows up is going to take a disproportionate amount of time away from their faculty and their professor. And it's going to be encouraged and backed by administrators, because that's what they think their job is. They believe in equality of outcome, so that if a student doesn't show up and one does and works their ass off, they think that everybody should be doing the same. And if you don't give them that outcome, they can go psycho on faculty. And I've seen it happen online or in message boards, and the administration will back them up. And it's really, or they will try to casually deal with it. But you would be shocked at how much time can be taken away from a professor in doing their duties by the really mentally ill, destructive people. But, you guys see it every day. I mean, this is what we're dealing with right now as a society. When you raise people who think that they need to be the center of attention and they can't take not being the center of attention, everyone who does anything worthy of note is a total affront to them. And that's a really bizarre thing. So let me read this here. John is saying, Marxism ideas are terrible except to psychopaths and power grabbers. It's why they don't debate the ideas, but recruit through subterfuge and lies. Well, yeah, and it's absolutely, when leaders can't lead, they follow what exactly? Well, and this is the thing about it too, right? Is that if this was a good idea, right? Eric the Guapo, hey, what's up, brother? Good to see you. If this was a good idea, then why is everybody so miserable who follows it? Like, these people are absolutely miserable. And you look at it and you kind of say, like, I think Ethan was talking about, or Zach was talking about, can't remember. I watched too many Comicsgate streams, but then can one really watch too many Comicsgate streams? But they were talking about it, and they said, what is missing in these people's lives? Well, it's really simple. For me anyway. I'm just going to, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say it's simple. I'm not going to correct. I overcorrect myself sometimes. And I have a tendency, you guys can call me out on this. I have a tendency to say something that's obviously a joke, but I've been in academia so long, I say I'm just kidding after things because of the fear that you have to explain that to people, that they can't read basic social cues. So now that I'm here, I'm going to have to work on not doing that. But it's like this. Narcissism is one of the least hereditary, but most traced to how you were raised traits. So when you have a culture that raises a generation of narcissists, they need constant narcissistic supply. They do. It doesn't matter what their job is. It doesn't matter how much they earn. It doesn't change like how a person thinks. And so they hate the attention other people is getting, and they will burn their lives down so that you can look at them for 15 minutes. And it's this constant sort of hunger for attention. And they can't stop thinking about the people that are getting more attention to them. So they almost become pathologically obsessed with them. And I've run into this with students. I've run into this with, you can run into people anywhere who just can't stop thinking about, like, why are you successful or getting any kind of attention? Now, here's the funny thing. An introvert gets tired after a certain amount of attention, and I will definitely say that that's the case with me. Like it's just, I don't need it to live. I'd rather just, I can paint in my house, but I want to sell comic books. So it's my job. Obviously, I'm not like, oh, well, shit, I'm too good for this because I'm an introvert. John would kick me up a flight of stairs covered in nails. But the thing about it is, for me, is that these people have a attention hole in them that, to them, bad attention is better than no attention. No attention is excruciating, and they would much rather get attention. They would much rather be infamous than not being known at all. And the problem is we're getting to a point where people are starting to catch on to it and see it as the social disease that it is, and it's crazy. God-shaped hole defiled by Marxism. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a way to look at it. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I'm going to disagree with that. They do have a God. The God is in their mirror, and that's the creepiest thing in the world. Like, that is the absolute most terrifying thing to me in the world, is to view yourself as the omniscient, of needing to be the omniscient power under which everyone has to bask and worship. And it is really, really messed up. And so Eric DeGuapo is saying it has been proven many times throughout history and even psychological and sociological studies that collective ideals cause severe mental trauma and hinders productivity. Yes, it also creates a kind of arrested development because you don't pay attention to your own needs to grow and to fail and to evolve as a person. We don't grow, like, how do I word this? They try to own collective success and failures, but they don't feel the personal ownership of failure that's essential to build up integrity and perseverance and any of those things. They don't think they can survive failure unless they shift it onto society, that blame, which means they've absolved themselves. And it's crazy to watch. Yeah. And John says, unmoored from reality, the most passionate voices seem the most rational. That's exactly right. Yeah, and that's why I think that Ayn Rand was so, about objectivism. People kind of, if anybody in Comicsgate who's looking to, at least, if you can't manage Atlas Shrugged, you should at least try to listen to John Galt's speech. It's worth a listen, but also the short story Anthem sums it up really, really well. Eric DeGuapo says, and not to mention the mass genocides and murders that have happened when those ideologies were practiced. Of course. The fact that you could go to an art college, a liberal arts college, and someone would have the audacity to put Marxism in front of you as an ideal when it executes people who are trying to, have their own ideas and express thoughts is despicable. It's absolutely despicable. And Razor Fist has talked about this. And I actually bought a book on his recommendation, The Red Decade, that's about the 1930s. And I find it so completely odd. The Century of the Self. Yes, absolutely. I will check that out. Yeah, guys, this is the thing. So yeah, so let's take a step back, right? Let's take a step back too on this stuff, which is great. Scottsley, I did a 6-part podcast series on Atlas Shrugged. That book was a game changer for me. Yeah, it has been for me too. As has Ayn Rand's favorite poem written by oh my God, how am I blanking on this? Wrote The Jungle Book. Come on, people, help my brain. Oh my God, how am I blanking on this? Rudyard Kipling. There we go. I got there in the end. It's a poem called If. I actually sent it to Gabe recently because it's one of my favorite poems, and it's a really great poem that I like to share with people. And it's the kind of thing that I understand why how do I word this? I hope that I can articulate what brought me to Comicsgate, why I'm here. It is, and it's a series of principles that have governed me most of my life, and that I will say honestly, on occasion, I am sure during my time at colleges and things like that, I have found myself feeling off because I was disconnected from them. And once you kind of realize like what things are important for you to live by, what things matter to you, it's not hard to be all like it's not hard to have your center and have your integrity there. And I will never again, like there's that quote from Ayn Rand I like, which is, I will never live my life um like solely, for another individual, and I will never ask another individual to live their life solely for me. That's something people should do of their own free will. And the expectation that anybody, whether it's me or Michael Bancroft or Rob or Ethan or Shane or anybody in Koski, Gabe, um, any of us owe like our lives to live for something without it. How do I word this? It's I will give charity and do things for other people without a gun to my head or without somebody threatening me with harm or insults or any of those things. I can do that on my own. And I would never I find that so completely abhorrent to demand to somebody that they do X, Y, or Z for you. And it's why I have, and something everybody should know. I have, make sure I can say this. No, I think I have said this. The closest I've ever come after doing after all those intros, after everything, and I love the guy. I think he's such a nice guy. The week of my campaign, I think I sent in a super chat saying just to the Comicsgate Kings in general, because I just talked to Gabe earlier that day. Oh, if anybody wants to have me on their stream, I'm in the last week, I'd be game to do that. So just let me know. Because if there's one thing I learned from Ethan and John, you got to take your shot and you got to make sure you ask people. But I have never once emailed Ethan, and Ethan can check me on this if I have. He can do a search. But I've never emailed Ethan and asked him if I can be on his show. Not once. Never. It's not my thing. I mean, if he wanted me to be on his show, if he was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, or whatever, I'd be there in a heartbeat. It would be amazing. It'd be a great opportunity. But I will never ask him because and Gabe gets on me about this, but hopefully you guys understand. That's the best I can do. That's the best landing I can stick on that sentence. So we've got Eric Guapo. How many more will be hurt? Absolutely. Sorry, at Eric Guapo, that's John saying that to Eric Guapo. Eric Guapo saying Marxism is popular in high schools and entertainment. I find it crazy. People are willfully wanting to trade their freedom for government security. I think it was popular with the previous generation. Now, like all young generations, I can say they're starting to kind of they always rebel against the thing that's common. Go and watch a music video. Go watch the music video for Ugly Kid Joe's Everything About You. Ponder that for a minute. Ugly Kid Joe, if you remember this, had a song called Everything About You in the 90s. And in it, I believe their guitarist is wearing a Hammer and Sickle t-shirt. So somehow it was like heavy metal Hammer and Sickle. I do not understand it. Who knows, John? Hopefully our upcoming generations will see that. Yeah, they absolutely are seeing the generation, the errors of. I would say, if I'm being honest, I would say it is totally a millennial thing. I'm not saying that as an attack on millennials. I mean to say the millennial educators and the parents were super seemingly into that based on my experience as a college teacher in that particular vein. I think you don't find it as much outside of the university systems, but it is everywhere. That's totally fine, John. I understand. But again, John, as you know, I'm not here to control anybody else's actions. You didn't say Shanth wants to be. You didn't say that. You spoke for yourself. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, full disclosure, I asked EVS. Yeah, a lot of people have asked EVS about that, and that's very cool. If is great. Admiral Wackass. It is. Whenever I love that Gandhi quote. Whenever I despair, I remember that all throughout history, the way of truth and love has won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they can seem unstoppable, but in the end they always fall. Think of it always. I think of that quote all the time. My generation is all into that crap, says Earth Guapo. As a millennial, the education system let us down. Yes, the education system and your pop culture. I could talk to you about how your culture was designed. Nickelodeon, a lot of children's programming developed this strategy called pester power. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of this before. Pester power was the idea that they went to the advertisers and they said, we're going to make all of our television shows, in all of our shows, we're going to show the parents and authority figures as being largely incompetent. And then we're going to bombard them with your commercials so that when they go to their parents and ask for them to buy them a product and their parents say no, they won't respect their answer and they will continue to pester them. And eventually their parents will break down and get you our product. Like that was what the stated purpose was by the advertising people to Nickelodeon. You can look it up somewhere. Just type in pester power. If you Google search it, you can find research on it. Let's see here. Yes. Hello, Admiral. Yo, Eric the Guapo. Scottsley, your ability to recognize calls you out to make you know. Absolutely. Yeah. Recognize it. Yes, absolutely. Well, that's the whole thing though, right? Is that, guys, it's crazy town. I am an educator in a high school within Southern California. God bless your heart. And I'm surrounded by that stuff daily. It's very cult-like. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I have to tell you, I can relate definitely from my own experience that there's an increasing number of very frustrated parents who are dealing with all of this stuff, because I think that most people don't really understand what's going on, and it's going to take a very, concerted effort to get people to see it, to understand it, where all this stuff comes from. And I don't mean like where it all comes from in that sense. I mean, it comes from a very simple concept, which is the poison of resentment, the poison of resentment. And resentment is, my favorite definition of resentment is like, resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. At the end of the day, the people who sign on for these things, anti-responsibility, anti-individual accountability, are destroying their lives. And that's the sickest thing. Like, you have to explain to people that this philosophy isn't against me. It will be eventually, but more likely than not, assuming you cannot get this ideology to take root in any substantial way. And just, so they know, people have been trying to do this since the 1930s. And the reality is that it takes a lot more work, and they've been a lot closer to it in the past, probably in certain ways. It comes down to dollars and economic collapse that prevents it from really catching on. But the thing about it is that the person whose life it's robbing, the person whose youth it's robbing, is the generation who have it forced on them. So to speak to, yes, absolutely, it's easier to light a candle. Yeah. By the way, this is a really important thing to remember. And Scott, I wanted to make sure I said this. This is super important. Is that there is probably no group that has been more screwed over, as weird as this sounds. There's as young millennial women, because they have had their youth, their 20s, and in a lot of cases their fertile years, like, robbed from them by them learning that to hate men. And if we can assume that the majority of them are straight, that's a lot of people who were not able to, in any real way, learn how to interact with the opposite sex. And all of the entertainment and all of the conversations they have. What's funny to me is when they talk about what men are like in a lot of these circles, it's like hearing a 12-year-old boy talk about what women are like. It's really embarrassing. You're like, really? That's what you think it's about? That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. A lot of misinformation, out there, and they're trying to live by it. And yeah, so, I know what I was going to say. So here's the deal. So when Kung Fu Panda came out and it went over to China, there was huge outcry from the artists against that, are very angry protests about that movie by artists in China. And here's what they were protesting. Were they protesting cultural appropriation? Nope. Were they protesting American colonialism? Nope. They were protesting their own government, and they said, if you guys didn't have a ban on all Chinese culture being romanticized unless it conforms with a communist underpinning, we could have made Kung Fu Panda. If you'd let us be free artists. But the first culture that communism killed, the Chinese Communist Party killed, was the Chinese culture. That's the horrifying part of it. That China has an actually extraordinary history that has been completely, and cultural richness that's been robbed in favor of these ugly freaking buildings and boxes, and it's horrible how it kills culture. So yeah, we have to protect our culture by making it and by pointing out that the only real purpose of this stuff is to get rid of things. Let's see here. Scotsy says, and motherhood is called a burden absolutely every day by the culture. It sure is. That is true, man. Feminism has destroyed almost everything it has touched. Yes, it has. And it's particularly women. Women have been most affected by it. Men have been probably most annoyed by it. But yeah, I always say this, and let's popularize this. Feminism is to femininity what masochism is to masculinity. There's your Shanthism for the day. Let's see here. Eric the Guapo says, John says to @Eric the Guapo, if you continue to teach, NEA, I believe, works very hard to ensure you will experience the same wherever you go. Yeah, that's true. The most important thing to remember is according to state and federal law, you can anonymously report anything that attempts to teach prejudice and racism in a school, or that people be treated differently on the basis of race. Those policies have no exceptions that don't include men or white people. And most people just aren't using the laws of their state to lodge complaints. And if enough of those build up, you're going to see yourself in a situation where someone's going to have to hear it and someone's going to have to fund it. Imagine if people start using crowdfunding to fund things to address these issues, which I'm sure they will at some point. I mean, there's already a lot of very motivated parents are getting sick of this shit. Okay, and so Eric the Guapo says, I teach severe special ed, so most 9F, that political nonsense is not in my classroom. Okay, there you go. Oh, so I got it. Most of that political nonsense, I just looked at my keyboard, of that political nonsense is in my classroom. It's just all over the place with my colleagues. Yes, it is, absolutely. Leandro says, sadly, there is a Puerto Rican New York senator who's early in the years that it's better not to have children and it's better for the environment. Yes, but they've been pushing that narrative, right? This is the thing, you guys, I cannot overstate this, it is an anti-human, anti-life, and I mean that in the bigger sense. It's almost like political Jainism. It's better for you to die than for you to be alive. And shockingly, looks like we got to boot somebody here. Let's see here. I'll block this user. There you go, my friend. Enjoy your blockage there. So let's see here. Yeah, exactly. Anyone who calls herself a feminist is as sketchy as a dude who calls himself an alpha. Yeah, I think that I was talking to someone about this, that if I ever got around a guy who's like, you know what would make the world better is if we got rid of all the women and it was just guys, I'd go, you're insane. I'm not going to live without women. If you imagine that it's the same way for straight women, and I've had so many college students talk about this because they felt like they could in my classroom, just how impossible, like, here were my dreams when I came into college, and now I'm a junior or a senior, and I feel like I don't date. There's no love in my life. There's just this feeling of constant anxiety and political stress and all these people telling me what it means to be a woman. And if you are a feminine girl, you have to sacrifice that on the altar of feminism. If you have any interest in religion or faith or men, heaven forbid, you have to sacrifice that on the altar of Marxist, postmodernist bullshit. And so I can't overstate how shit that is and how it ruins people's lives. It just does. And people are miserable. I mean, your 20s are this time where you're supposed to be, and you can always go out and have some of these experiences, but, I don't mean to sound so grim about it, but it's not a time where you're supposed to go insane, but it's a time when you're supposed to, I mean, you can if you choose. It's a time when you're supposed to enjoy life. You're young. You don't need to have a bunch of people my age or older, or God forbid, younger professors who are even more puritanical, insane in terms of their application of this stuff, telling you to sacrifice your 20s so they can feel better. And again, here's the biggest thing I think you see in mentally, unstable people, the teachers and adults. When you see them, they hate their students' youth. Deep down, they resent it. They want to be the center of attention, or not even, sorry, not center of attention. They want to be the center of culture. So you've got a bunch of students who want to be the center of attention, a bunch of faculty in some instances who want to be, who hate their youth, not their own youth, but the youth they see in their students. It's a recipe for disaster, and it makes things miserable. I'm just still befuddled by the Marxism feminism injection into your art theory books. Yeah, well, that's actually how it's viewed. So do understand that the way that feminism is understood, modern day feminism is understood, is as an inflection of Marxism. It is. It's in the textbooks. I went insane in my 20s, and now they're almost over. So here's the best thing I can tell you guys, and I mean this sincerely. Like, this is the best time in my life. Now, I don't know how many of you guys were listening to the Shane Christmas story. I came out of that feeling like Shane understands me, and I understand Shane better than I would like to. My wife saw that story, and the look on her face of horror was priceless. I hate to say that, but it was priceless. But the good thing about certain experiences is you can't fall out of the basement. And I'm having the best time of my life now, man. I'm having the best time. I'm doing the art I want to do. I don't wish, actually, because I think of that Jimmy Cagney quote. I love James Cagney in Public Enemy when he says, "I wish it was a wishing well so I could tie a bucket to you and sink you." But I don't do a lot of wishing. But I do think that the most important thing that you could give a young artist in their 20s, if you're an experienced, is a mentor who will kick their ass and encourage them to live, inspire them to live. No, how do I word this? How do I word this? When people say that all art is political, what they're saying is all art should be interpreted by Marxism, because there's really only one politic they're talking about. They're talking about the politic of victimizer and all of that. So it's not that there was no artwork before Marx, it's that all artwork has to be contextualized by Marxism, which is why they list it as contextualism. So the first stage is they don't tell you. Now we're in the canceling phase and the decolonization of bookshelves. By the way, decolonizing is a big aspect of the new edition of this book, but I'll show you exactly what I mean. What's up, the choice voice? Greetings, Sean. 2022 is fast approaching, and then you'll be the best artist of 2022. Want to stop by and spend some time before bed? Excellent, Michael. Michael, do you feel like popping in the stream to say hey real quick? Are you set up to do that? I feel like before 2021 is over, I got to at least have you pop in for a second to say hi. I need that. See if you can do that for me, buddy. 5 seconds is all I need. You don't have to. Remember what I was saying earlier in this stream. I'm being a hypocrite. But let me know. Let me know if you're up for that, and I'll send you the link, man. Because that would definitely make my 2021. But if not, it's cool. Don't worry. Let's see. Eric the Guapo says, feminism at its root was a facade for freedom that became a scourge of family structures and community. The Black community was flipped on its head in the 60s because of feminism and the welfare state. That's an interesting idea. For me, when I look at that stuff, I look at it as a very simple, and there's a lot of people who have talked about this kind of stuff and talked about the way things work, is that when I was growing up in Tennessee, when I was growing up in the South, and people don't even understand this stuff, how nuts this stuff is. My high school girlfriend was Taiwanese and Hong Kong Chinese. And so let me just put it this way. Her mother had an accent. Okay. So there was no way I was ever going to not know what her mother sounded like. So here's what happens. I get a phone call at like 9 a.m. at my house, I think it was, on a Saturday. And this woman is saying to me, my mom comes up the stairs and she says, there's this woman on the phone and Jan's mother, and I'm like, how, like, okay. And she wants to know where her daughter is. And I'm in like maybe 10th grade or 11th grade, no idea what this person's talking about. But I'm like going, oh my God, Jan's mother doesn't know where she is. Like, holy cow, my girlfriend has the same name. Pick up the phone, get the phone, and the woman goes, Shanth, she knew how to pronounce my name. Now, come on, comic skaters. Come on, people who watch my YouTube channel. You know how hard it is to pronounce my name for someone who doesn't hear it regularly. She goes, Shanth, is this Shanth? I said, yes, this is Shanth. And I immediately know this isn't Jan's mom. I was like, who the hell is this? She goes, it's Jan's mom. And I went, okay, Jan, like, and I gave her last name, which was, Chinese. I said, Jan so-and-so. And she goes, you know who this is, Jan. And I'm like going, I just said who Jan is, like my girlfriend. And I repeated my name, Jan so-and-so. And she's like, where is Jan? I know she's with you. She said she was going to be with you. Where is Jan? And I'm like, and I finally got tired. I didn't care. I was like, lady, I don't know who the fuck you are. I certainly don't know who this Jan is you're talking about. This is insane. And this is the thing, right? It's like, I was like, what the hell is going on? And she's like, you don't know where Jan is? I said, lady, I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know what Jan you're talking about, but the Jan I'm dating is Chinese. I've never met you in my life. Leave me the fuck alone. Get off the phone. So this is a case, as far as I've been able to guess lately, where I have a suspect of who I think it could be, but some girl made up she was out with me and had her mother convinced that we had some kind of relationship. This is the kind of insane stuff that happens. The next bit of that was, I also grew up with being told, and this is a very scary part of some of those experiences, with the story of Emmett Till very much on my mind. So you can imagine, and I actually brought this up at a faculty meeting. I go, you guys are all running around saying, with this believe all women hashtag, do you understand what that was in the Jim Crow South? You should probably do some thinking before you jump in on this. Who was, yeah, exactly. It was someone completely random. And I will never forget how completely disturbing that was. I was like, I couldn't believe, I have so many stories of this kind of stuff, guys. It's scary. And what gets me about it is, and what frustrates me about it is that we've got a bunch of people who don't understand things like innocence until proven guilty, all of these basic tenets of, shit. Rob's so funny. Rob sent me a link to his stream too. I gotta pop in on his stream at one of these points, but oh my lord. So anyway, yeah, if you think it's crazy to hear that story, believe me. Oh boy, here we go again. Got a lot of people coming in here. If you believe that that story sounds crazy to hear, it was crazier to experience it. I really your love and an artist. Yeah, it's completely crazy. It was completely insane. Exactly, Sean. Common sense would tell us that anybody has the capacity to lie. Yeah, of course. It's absolutely, yeah. And it's for the receipt simple. Yeah, so there's a really terrible history of people just going along with what I would say is believe all accusers is a terrible strategy. And so again, imagine you're in an environment or a college for that matter, how safe you feel if you've experienced that kind of stuff. Common sense doesn't exist. Oh, and Michael, I sent you the link to your on Facebook to your account, so feel free to pop in here, man. But it's one of those things to where you go like this, and I know who this. I believe I know who this person is. I would, of course, never name them because I actually do believe in innocence until proven guilty, and I don't believe in just throwing random accusations out on the internet. It's just insane. But this is the thing about it, guys. This anti-democracy, anti-freedom, it all starts with a couple of very basic American principles that, frankly, both parties should get on board with, which is innocence until proven guilty, the right to confront your accuser. And none of those things should be overwritten by any private institution because your civil rights don't stop at the door of a private business. There have been a lot of legal cases that have spoken to this, which is the fact that you have to be willing to go to court, but it's much, and deal with all that stuff. But if a private business says we don't make this kind of thing, or we don't want to do this kind of thing, they're going to lose business. The economy is going to correct that. But if an institution receiving federal funding says you don't get to have access to resources that you need, or you don't get to have an opinion that we don't agree with while you're here, they need to be a private business. And there's a huge problem with that. Sounds like a common integrity to me. You believe? Yeah, shocker. I do. Yeah, but it's the Westernism. It's the values and the ideas of the West. They're a very simple thing. College is such a toxic breeding ground for most foul and destructive ideologies. Eric the Guapo, can I make this? Can I simplify that a little bit? There's no breeding going on at college at all. That's the problem. For the love of God. It is like you hear people having lengthy conversations about sexual orientation, gender identity, all of these things. The sign that a college is going insane is when you look around and nobody's holding hands or dating. And if I were taking my kid on a college tour and I was going to ask questions as a parent, I would say, what's the dating scene like here? And I would look around to see if you saw any students holding hands. I've been married to my wife for 21 years, going on 22. We're in our 22nd year. We still hold hands. I still say I love you to her every time I see her. That is like everything to me, man. And when you see, like, what a horrible thing to miss out on saying the words I love you to somebody, to asking somebody out and being rejected. There's so many beautiful things that anyone can have. It's not like these things were popular when I was in college. But it's just holding hands, for heaven's sake. Like little things like that. Before you go, I feel like it's like that Monty Python meaning of life. Before you go down the road of talking politics with people, why not ask them about themselves as a person? So what I did in my classroom, which I love and is some gangster shit. Ethan may have started this gangster shit, but I've been doing this shit for 18 years. Yeah. You want to fight me, fight these tears, to quote the late DMX. Respect. But I used to tell my students, whenever they taught politics, I'd say, tell me what Article 1 of the Constitution of the United States is. If you can't tell me, if you couldn't pass the citizenship test that my high school girlfriend had to pass to be a citizen of this country, and so many of my family and friends have had to pass, shut up about politics if you don't understand civics. And almost none of them, except for one Canadian, interestingly, could tell me that Article 1 establishes the legislative branch of government. Like, this is basic 101. Men are scared to interact with these pronoun psychos. You never know when you will be accused of something. Yeah, absolutely. And you know that, actually, lawsuits are starting to fix this after the guy, Mattress Girl, was found to be a liar and the college was found culpable. It's going to take a couple of lawsuits, but money is going to dictate it eventually. But yeah, I'm a big, I absolutely am shocked. Oh, can you all see my messages? I can see your messages. Yeah, I'm seeing your messages just fine. When is your next stream? I see your message. Sorry, it's just jumping so much. I have the stream now, Michael. If you want to jump on, but I don't know when my next stream is going to be. Probably tomorrow. I've got my setup done, and I'm going to be streaming like a demon lately. But let me know. And yes, I can see your messages. I just got lost. I'm not saying go caveman and primal, but have equal fun. Yeah, I mean, guys, there's a word that people are missing. God, I feel like I'm sounding like John Cleese in the sex education classroom in The Meaning of Life. But whatever happened to the interplay of the sexes? Whatever happened to, why not start with a kiss boy? That's what I sound like. The Duke Lacrosse case, which was totally fraud. It's an interesting thing, right? Oh, Michael just must be great. Excellent. What is that? Oh, you look like, I read it, Michael. I just saw your message. I read your message with my illiterate self wrong. I didn't understand it. I was a part of that. Oh, let me see this here. Why not just watch Benny Hill? Yeah, that's why I'm watching old entertainment. I thought you were saying I like bad art right now, which I was like, oh yeah, I totally like bad art right now. Fiendishly streaming, laugh out. Yeah, absolutely. Oh wait, you missed two previous ones where I respond. Oh yes. Got you, Michael. I just read it wrong because I'm illiterate as F. So this is the thing about it, right? Is that that when I look at that stuff, and this is a major issue, right? young men and young women, I would say this. Here's another college tour question. When you go on a college tour, ask if you're a parent. Every parent should say, do you think that students on this campus need to, do you believe that college campuses or X amount of people, percentages of people are going to be assaulted in a particular way on college campuses? And if they say yes, go, well, then I'm going to assume that your college campus is incredibly dangerous and I'm not going to send my kids here. Like, all of these places tell you that colleges, they tell these kids, this is the most dangerous place in the world you could be. Then let's do this whole thing remote. No, you can't do this whole thing remote because we need to buy buildings. Oh, so you're telling me that you can't keep your campus safe because it's just a haven of crime, even though there's not a lot of evidence of it. So why would I want to send my kid here? Like, it's crazy. So you want me to pay money to go to a place where the teachers know nothing, where my child is likely to be assaulted than asked out on a date. In fact, there's 0% chance they'll be asked out on a date or ask someone out on a date safely, where they could be falsely accused and you'll go along with it, thus destroying their young life. And you want me to pay X amount of dollars for this so that they can sit in a classroom where hysterical kids are going to dictate their experience over 4 years? No, thank you. No, I'm going to take my shit and leave. Hence Comicsgate. So let me see here. Let's see here. People are, ADA, yes, exactly. People are obsessed with race out here in Cali. Yeah, absolutely. People are obsessed about it in New England too. Funny enough, I think people were less obsessed with it when I was growing up in the South, probably because there's so much more diversity in the South than there is on the coast. I haven't figured. I think I was talking about that with Gabe last stream. I mean, look at the distribution of people. New England is not a very diverse place. Neither are a lot of these places. The original Matrix, Neo, cannot be the one till Trinity kisses him and tells him she loves him in a reverse of the fairy tale modern shit tricks. She is the other one. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because again, it's like, I can't even, like, I just find it also laughable that, like, when I walked out, I wonder how many women walked out of the Matrix and said to themselves, man, I sure hope I meet a Neo. I know every guy I know who walked out of the Matrix and saw that scene and how beautiful it was. They were like, I got to get into a good relationship. Like, we're so susceptible to femininity. It's ridiculous. And it's the greatest power that that a woman could have over a man is femininity, and getting a man to fall in love and be like, okay, I'll give everything for you. And to teach people that this person this group of people who naturally find everything about you fascinating and beautiful are your greatest enemy is a disaster. Absolute disaster. Let's see here. And it makes people miserable. Ops Mike Nifong was the Durham County DA, not the ADA. Gotcha. He was disbarred and jailed following the court findings concerning his conduct. Yep, and rightfully so. Yep, rightfully so. Yeah, it's barking. It's barking that that people who are charged with and I mean responsible for. Although I will say this, the jury is also responsible. That's why we need a jury of our peers. And to protect them from death threats, but or not. How do I word it? To make sure that they are safe and not feeling threatened or whatever. But it's a very interesting thing because if you don't like if you're sending your kid to a college where they don't like this country and are teaching an ideology that is against the foundations of individual liberties, then you really shouldn't send your kid there. You just shouldn't. And I don't know that I would feel comfortable. Like my son, I don't know if I'll send him to college, and I don't know if I want to send my daughter to college either. It's that. Think about who that's coming from. That's a really huge statement for me because I feel like that my children will come out in debt and depressed. And that increasingly they're going to be victims of students who should either be suspended, expelled, or told or disciplined for their destructive behavior in the classroom. And unfortunately, they're being encouraged. The newest catchphrase of an ideal that they want students to have is to be disruptive. I'm not kidding. How important disruption is. We love disruption. This was the last conversation at the last faculty meeting, or one of the last I was at, that we want to make an environment where students feel comfortable being disruptive. Who the fuck wants to teach a bunch of disruptive students? You know what the ultimate disruption is? Getting rid of authority figures. Why would you pay money? Someone answer this for me. Why would you pay money for someone to teach you, or go into debt for someone to teach you who you believe knows less than you do, or not as much as you do, who you think you need to be educating? It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. Let's see here. Nana says, that's a key part of being a single-ish father to my daughters for many years. I always made it clear that the key to life and success is having a yin to your yang. Masculinity and femininity need balance. They absolutely do. Almost as if, like, look, guys, if you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, if you believe in something else, evolution, I don't care what you believe in. It's not by accident that we have these two sexes. It's not required for reproduction. This is how it's happened, and that dynamic and that interplay is responsible for the core of civilization, which is people. To be anti-people and to think that the worst thing you could do is to have children is to be anti-society, because what is socialism, like, what is society, all these ideas that people talk about, meant to serve? If you don't have people, you don't have a society. Seems pretty easy. I don't get it. And I have to tell you something. I love women. Like, they're great. I don't love all women. That'd be insane. And I love being married. It is what it is. I've been with the same girl for, 20-something years. Love her. No interest in anybody else. That is what it is. That's me. Like, I'm not saying everybody has to be that way. I love being a dad. I think it's awesome. Imagine paying thousands. That's free bonus for tonight. Imagine paying thousands of dollars to send them to an indoctrination camp that teaches kids to be activists. Well, here's the funny thing, right? The best thing about it is the oppositing of words, right? So what you learn when you go off to art school a lot of times is anti-aesthetic. So they teach you that ugliness is beauty. It's the first great betrayal. So they show you a bag of trash poured out over the floor and tell you this is art. Art is supposed to be the mastery of aesthetics, the mastery of something that wakes the senses up. That's just trash. And people show you trash and tell you it's beauty, and they make you take your beautiful work and try to make it more trashy for praise. So that's the first great betrayal. But then you take things like activism. Activism, as far as I can tell, is doing nothing. It really is. It's like, I'm going to go somewhere and sit. I'm going to go somewhere and shout while someone else is actually being active. Or I'm going to protest by sitting down, or by not showing up, or not going out today. It's actually passivism, or not pacifism. It's passivism. Yeah, so it's being passive, not active. They're not activists. They're pacifists, if that makes sense. And people should start saying it. They're a pacifist. They just want to. They're a critic, which is what critical. Everything is critical now. Critical race theory, critical feminist theory, critical gender theory. But it all starts with critical art theory, critiquing, crit culture. It's all about throwing stones at someone who's actually doing something. And so, yeah, it's pretty insane. Let's see here. Okay, whoa, I missed a bunch of chats then here. The reason I think it's part of the accreditation chasing is because teaching seems Marxism-centric and not employable-centric. Employable, not complacent. Exactly. I see what you're saying. Well, yes. But if people are, it's really interesting because there's so many different factors. I think it's a lot more complicated than people think. And now that it's being reduced to its simplified form, I think it's falling completely apart. But I view it like this. It's like anything. It's like a drug dealer. You go into an environment where the only environment you could succeed in with this ideology is in academia. So you got a bunch of people learning ideologies that only work inside of academia. So now you can't get a job. The only choice you have is to try to get a job in academia. Well, how do you get a job in academia? Well, you got to get a master's degree or a PhD. It basically keeps you trapped in that environment. And when you get out, what do you get for all of your work if you're lucky enough to get in? A salary below most salaries you can get with a high school diploma. Think about that for a minute. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Hey, what's up, Apex Comics? How you doing? Let's see. Marxism is destructive. Yeah, truer words have never been said. He's pretty famous, gets 100K views. It's crazy that those in his sphere have failed to launch their lives. Okay, so I'm looking to see where that came from. I missed the. I have a buddy who does Twitch streams for a living. Two parts to this story. One, he's a couple of years younger than me, and he has no girlfriend, great friends, but no romantic life, no matter how hard he tries. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Oh, thank you, Apex Comics. I appreciate that. And then the Choice Voice has got it. You guys, the chat is jumping. Well, that looks excellent as usual. Got to work pretty early. All right, Michael. Have a great day at work, my friend. Love you, brother. Take care and have a great morning. Take care of everyone and a happy new year. Michael is my buddy, my Blade buddy. We love the Blade movies. Let's see. Part 2 that he's often in streams on Friday when I can find when I can after family dinners and such in my study. I went from no grandchildren in February 2021 to 5 now, with 1 due in March and a 2nd in August. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. That's the dream. That's the dream I have. Activism has its place, but right now activism is an easy pathway to income and providence. That's true. Because they have made fortunes through their activism. Yeah, absolutely. As someone who has stood up for certain things as an individual and taken some punches for it, well, I would say, I'll give you one. I would say me leaving academia was an example of activism. To me, activism doesn't hurt other people. It hurts. It's on principle. So I believe what Gandhi did is activism. It's about provoking a response, not burning down a town. And I think we both believe that. I don't doubt that that's what you're saying. But activism seems to have consequences for other people and seems like it's more about narcissistic rage than it is thinking about the people that it's claiming to. Do you get what I mean? It's like Munchausen by proxy. It's like the loving mother who's poisoning her kids so she can take care of them. That's kind of what it is. It's about harming the very people and keeping, if they can keep certain groups like women, like any other group, victims, then they will never have to stop. They will never lose their purpose. It's very messed up and pathological. Yeah, Blade is awesome. I love those movies. I do too, Eric the Guapo. No. Can't even do it, man. Many women enjoy his game choice, and I get some mad shit from these women aged 14 to 34 about how I am ruining the world and a horrible person for what I have done. Makes me so sad. Well, like I said, it's just projection. So that's really what it is. I mean, it's sad. But there's another generation coming up you're going to be hearing from, I'm sure, soon. They're pissed at all this stuff. They loathe it. Yeah, John says congrats. No, says Gracie. And someone wrote Grandpapa. Love that from Apex Comics, John. Mad at you or your generation. I'm totally confused. That is the perfect analogy, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate that. John, I'm going to need some clarification because, like I said, I am hooked on phonics, but I still cannot read for shit. So my reading comp, guys, I can read, but the later in night it gets, and the more I'm multitasking, my neural load, speaking of the Matrix, will absolutely make it harder for me to read. Oh, these young women are brainwashed from liberal-induced indoctrination. Well, here's the thing about it. Is one of the most skilled things you can do is teach people that the antidote is the poison. And they've done that with Jordan Peterson. They do that with, so if you're a straight woman in college right now, you are being persecuted socially inside of that environment in the way that a lot of people like to think, or a lot of liberals like to think, that gay men are persecuted today. Like they'd like to act like it's back in the days of, is it Stonewall and all of that kind of stuff. And in reality, being a straight woman in college, you are made to think, like if you were to walk into a college classroom, think about this for a minute and say, yeah, I want to get married and have kids. Like I want to be a successful artist, but I want to make sure that, and you're paying tuition, I want to make sure that my family, I have a family and that kind of priority. People will look at you like you're insane. And people will actively tell you that the reason you want that is because there's something wrong with you, that you've been indoctrinated while they indoctrinate you to think you hate what you want. It's messed up, guys. Let me see here. Let's see here. Oh, Oh, women were mad at him. Oh, gotcha. Makes sense. These women don't need to have children. Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, again, could be just Darwin at work. Oh, cool. Yeah. Thank you. It sounds awesome. Yep. Good. Yeah. People are excited about the game. Yeah. Bias, confirmation. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. It's confirmation bias. It's framing bias. You name it. It's every kind of cognitive distortion and logical fallacy all rolled into one. You basically create a situation that causes anxiety, and then you say the situation is the cure for your anxiety, and that's rather unfortunate. That that if that environment seems to make men a certain way, and it seems to make it creates conflict between the two sexes, and then people say the conflict is natural. And so there were a lot of students who really enjoyed getting to meet my family when they would come by for visits when I was at work, and they would say things like, it's really great to know that there are people who are artists who can get married and have lives. And it was like, yeah, of course, but that's not something that a lot of people want students to see, because as insane as it sounds, no one ever asked me to give up being married and having a family as a male artist. But colleges are completely obsessed with women giving up family to go and pursue anything they want. And by the way, most people will not take that deal. Most people don't want that deal. So they've got to make sure that they dress it up as horrible as it can be. And that's kind of unfortunate. What's up, Prater7? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see here. Bias confirmation, yes. And a lot of grandpapa love there for our grandparent in the chat. Internalizes misogyny is what those women are accused of when they want a husband and a family. Yeah, sure, of course. And what's interesting is all you got to do is look at who hates femininity, and who's. It's all projection. I know you guys know this. I'm not exactly giving you profound insights today, but it is totally projection. They have internalized misogyny. They hate their femininity. They hate everything about being a woman. They hate people noticing them as. I look at it this way: if you go up to some of these people and you say, "Wow, you're very feminine," they would be insulted by that. If you walked up to them and said, "You're very masculine," they would be insulted by that. Well, the masculine and the feminine are what's responsible for life. So if you hate both of those things, you essentially hate life. You hate how you got here. I had a teacher. I said this on Gabe's channel. I had a teacher when I was in middle school. Couldn't say this now. I went to an all-boys school, and he said, you know what the biggest mistake you boys make is? You were the last thing your parents were thinking about when you were conceived. That's the interplay of the sexes. And these people can't stand the fact that they're all products of the masculine and the feminine coming together. It's a weird thing. So let's see here. John, hello. Yes, Prater7. It's good to see you here, brother. Let's see here. 2 out of my 5 daughters went to college. 1 dropped out due to the system being shit, and knowing more than the teachers wouldn't shock me. And I say that as a former college professor. The other is 3 years in, bachelor done, and working on 2 masters at 2 schools. There you go. Wow, that is a lot of education. Yeah, I have a master's degree. That's how I was able to be exposed to that book on Marxism that explains so much of what I was taught. And like I said, guys, I'm not a big believer in writing anything off wholesale, because there are exceptions to every rule. I was teaching college for 18 years. I think I was pretty damn good at it. And I helped students to get jobs where they could pay off their loans. And that was a big part of it to me. But that I was the exception, not the rule. In fact, I was the vast minority of people who were there. And a lot of the best paid people at one of the colleges I worked at were the least competent and the most highly paid. And some of the best teachers students had were part-time. And I've been full-time and I've been part-time. Either way, it's such a shame. It's such a shame the way that people are dismantling these institutions. However, I do believe that new institutions are going to crop up. It's a matter of time. I just don't know that, with however much time I have left, I'd rather be making comics, guys, and making artwork. If you guys will back me and support me, and the work, it deserves it. if you believe the work deserves it, and you want to keep helping me get the word out, I'm here, man. I'm all in. And who knows, I may end up in some weird situation where I'm like teaching people in Comicsgate at some point, like who want to come in and bone up on their skills. I've taught a lot of older people. I've taught it, done this. I did one course at a game studio. I've done like a lot of different things, but if there's any people who are like interested in, learning art, things like that, who knows, at some point in the future, I may do that, because I do think people want to learn, and they want to learn from people who are, oh, thank you. Yeah, I love his weapon. It's very much. It's a combination between a gladiator type sword. I love that movie Gladiator, but I also love those kinds of swords, the Colosseum swords. And then the dagger from Evil Dead 2. So it's got this great kind of magical, mystical thing there. And I love this scene, Praetor 7. This scene is awesome. The scene after it is going to be awesome. And yeah, you're gonna see he's schooling some fools right now, and I love it. Let's see here. No, John. Most of my kids, 7 out of 8, are maker movement kids. Awesome, and have no plans of being a part of current society. They really believe in the collapse and are ready for it. Laugh out loud. Not sure what I did. Maybe you were just talking to them like normal people. Yeah, love those swords in Gladiator. Yeah, to me, there's just this beautiful aesthetic. To them that I love, and I've watched some blacksmith videos on what do you call it? Some blacksmith videos on the making of this historical blacksmither who made on this documentary that was on PBS Nova called the Making of the Viking, or Secrets of the Viking Sword. If you love sword making and someone who does it actually historically, how they believe it's done, the swords and this slag-free steel as it was produced along the Volga trade route, and the kind of furnaces that they made, the mud brick furnaces. Oh my God, you'll love it. Side vents, it's so cool. Let's see. Praetor 7 says they're elegant in a very plain way too. Exactly. I gotta make sure I like to put you guys' chats on there. Sometimes when I'm like drawing and painting, I need both my hands to like rotate the paper. But I do appreciate all of the comments you guys are making. And I want you guys to know that. Yeah, much appreciated, guys. It's just like, just trying to keep the focus and when I'm working, and, you guys can see this, I'm streaming longer and longer and getting, more comfortable doing it. Michael and Rob and John Malin and all those guys, who've been very encouraging about it and have given, a lot of pointers and roadmaps to it. I really appreciate those guys, and yeah, it's good stuff. And I just keep reminding myself that I'm going to get more comfortable painting in front of you guys the more time that goes. I will tell you this is one of the this is one of the things that is a sign that I'm getting better at. I never used to do this stage of my painting process as much as I'm doing it right now on stream. Ethan does this process on his streams when he, takes the blue pencil and just goes to work. And, sometimes you can run into things because you're trying to pay attention to the chat, but I'm definitely getting more comfortable working on stream. It's just, getting your camera set up and rotating things and it's easy to get sort of sucked into the what's showing up on camera and all that stuff. And I know you guys want me to be focused on, because you're going to get this book, right? So you want me to be focused on making sure the artwork's working and that kind of thing. So, it's a give and take, but I think I'm getting more comfortable the more time, the more time I stream. And, I want to make sure that I'm being supportive to people in the community too. And it's weird because I'm such an introvert. I stay up late. So, cause I love my family. I love spending time with them. But at the end of the evening, one of the things that I love to do is just be completely alone in the house and just work at my desk. You guys are seeing a part of my experience that not a lot of people see. Let me see here. I was asleep, but I woke up, couldn't fall back asleep. Yep. I'm glad. Hopefully this will put you to sleep. Honestly, my average bedtime this week, and a lot of it's been just getting up so I can stream more often with you guys. But the biggest part of my week, I've been going to bed at 5 and 6 in the morning. I'm watching the sun come up and then I'm going to bed. I have terrible insomnia, guys. I have absolutely dreadful insomnia. I cannot sleep. And I know it's not good for me, but I really there's not a lot I can do. I cannot be put down. I've never found a medication that could knock me out. I've never found any of that stuff. And I don't want to. That's the most important part. I don't feel like I will walk through my kitchen thinking about my Comicscape book, and I will literally be dancing in the kitchen and going, yeah, let's do this. It's freaking absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I freaking love this stuff, guys. This is the best time, man. It's like, I want to be like, guys, it's like I gave up a steady salary as a college teacher to come and do this. It was a sacrifice for my family. It took me, God, 13 or 14 years in that ridiculously subjective, dare I say, system to get to a point where I could be paid anything close to, like, not even you guys, I won't even tell you, guys would laugh if you heard, but it is what it is. But it was money, and it was a tremendous amount of work, driving and commute and everything like that. And I walked away from that, just like Gabe, just like so many of us have. I walked away from that, and I have a great wife who supports it, and I have great backers and fans and people like yourself and customers who I am so grateful for, and I'm not going to let you guys down. How could I not be so enthusiastic and positive? I just don't know how to think of it any other way, guys. I make those intros and I love them, and I promise you guys, like, I really do want to just see if I can find, like, I wish I could find some of them. Let's see here. I have to How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless. It's good to see you, Dan. I have to listen to something to fall asleep. Audiobooks, I absolutely am the same way. So lately I've been listening to the Witcher audiobook series. I listened to H.P. Lovecraft. I listened to Arthur Conan Doyle, who's my favorite author, and I listened to oh my God, Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm listening to a lot of different stuff. Let me see if I can find. God, I'm in a pile of crap in this. So I love Arthur Conan Doyle. So I actually bought the facsimile editions of a lot of Arthur Conan Doyle books. So this is A Study in Scarlet, and this is the facsimile edition of it, because I love, like, being transported back that time. But I also just listen to the audiobooks as I go to sleep. I have a facsimile edition of A Christmas Carol too, which I think is one of the greatest works of fiction of all time. I think it's just a work of beautiful genius on the human condition. It's just incredible. So yeah, absolutely agree with that. Drawing comments by Dan. Oh my gosh. Cardiologist, I'm not one. Study sleep cycles. Your body repairs itself when you sleep. Your body and your mind. Yeah, I know. Turn off the Wi-Fi for sleep. Yeah. Yeah, listen, folks, I don't know how long I'm going to be lasting on this planet, but yeah, I can't imagine it's if everything I'm doing is goes according to how it's supposed to go. We're doing our best, kids. We'll see how it goes. But I'm lucky. I'm happy to be alive with what I've got. So yeah, John, it's crazy. I knew that public school failed me, so I wouldn't let that happen to my kids. I feel that I was really taken for a ride by Marxist BS. Yep. Hookup culture and live my life nonsense. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of, is interesting. I went to a very conservative school because I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And so for me, but pop culture wise, I was absolutely being pitched that shit. And then by, of course, the hipster professors on campus. And yeah, it's total bullshit. I mean, I never believed, I got to be honest with you, I never believed in hookup culture. That wasn't really something that I would probably have had access to be honest. Well, actually, no, I did, but it wasn't for me. Like, I don't like people, and that's like, how do I word it? I've always been a dating, going steady dude. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I promise you, it was not like my circle of friends was like that at all. But I've been wanting to get married since I was 5. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. But yeah, a lot of people got taken for a ride by that shit. A lot of people did. It's a gross thing in the sense that it doesn't make you happier. And I always say that if people want to watch a brilliant movie of that time, like, I would show this to my students and say, this is your parents' generation towards the end of my teaching career. Watch the movie Singles. Watch that movie. That's a great example of how completely messed up, people were feeling and how lonely and depressing it was. for people trying to find relationships with this bizarre ideology. And that was being held up of, oh my God, that's so true. And I remember seeing that stuff and going, that's so depressing. But that's just the way it works. Let's see what we've got here. Oh crap, let me make sure I'm catching up. John, hey, your body and mind, John, it's crazy in public school. Yes, John, your body and your mind. Hey, John, people saying, I use a headphone so my wife doesn't wake. Yes, I was wondering if I could actually reach mine from where I'm at. But yes, I have a gray headband that I use at night to sleep with. You and I are on the same page. I use that, and I wake up, and usually I've ripped it off at night. But I don't know how it just gets moved around. But yeah, I use that, and it's awesome because I just fall asleep listening to audiobooks. On a rare occasion, I listen to music, but it's almost always audiobooks because I wanted to catch up on my literary background because I had dyslexia and reading was a struggle for me, and so I really have wanted to get better at getting story into my head, and it's really interesting. I didn't think about how much it would improve my writing. I've always told stories, written stories, that kind of thing. But this story in particular, the way that it's put together, the literature, you just absorb it at a certain point and you understand things that you can't understand from, just reading about, writing. It's so much about going into these different experiences and these different authors' approaches. Just going to give you guys a little bit of a close up there. Let me let it focus of how I'm kind of letting the paint sort of move to create that anatomy. Oh, let me got new comments. I got to scroll down here. Let's see. John saying, after learning what Marxism was, I found lots of that thinking in my thoughts as well. Yep, it sure is. The idea of equality of outcome being the biggest, and the idea of everybody's a victimizer or a victim, and people aren't capable human beings. Dependency, psychological dependency is a huge part of it. But with the way we use terms like community, like community used to mean like your local community. Now it means something completely different. Like if I said, do you know all the people in your community? People would probably go to online. But if I said, do you know, like, are you on a first name basis and you have relationships with your mechanic, the people who work behind the counter at the grocery store? Like, do you know, like, that's what we're losing. And that's important. After learning blah, blah, blah. Prater7 says, I've been listening to Ender's Game series. I heard that's good. And then let's see here. How to Draw Comics by Dan Laws. How does the headband stay on for the entire night? My experience, I'm curious to see, John, yes, for the most part. Yeah, they will. If you're not like me, I mean, I'm like, I don't know what the hell happens. My wife says that I'm basically like having me, let me see if I can say this in a way that, well, it can be taken out of context no matter what I do, so let's go all in. She says it's like sleeping next to a crocodile in a death roll. She goes, that's pretty much what I'm like. Like, it's just like when she gets up and leaves for work, she goes, her side of the bed is fine. When she comes back, it looks like a crocodile got wrapped up in a net and then had to crawl its way out. Freaking dreadful, man. That poor woman. Bless her heart. Let's see here. Yeah, good to know. Excellent. Yeah, there's some really great ones that you can get online too, and it's important. Insomnia is really bad, and I just cannot slow my mind down unless I'm listening to something. If you want to read one of the greatest books on being a guy, how's that for a segue? Like, I would give any like kid or any guy this book and say, if you want to get like recognized, it is the ultimate book about our time right now. Unintentionally, it would speak to this time so well. Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World, for its opening sequence and then for its closing revelation he has with regards to that. It's about a guy going on a quest to try to become interestingly enough and worthy enough for this girl that is not interested in him, and inadvertently discovering how to be a man. It's awesome. And also then realizing the idiocy of such a quest, motivated for that. He learns he learns it by being around a bunch of actual guys. And he's a pretty tough guy himself, but he learns all these things. It's just absolutely an extraordinary book. Let's see here. No. That says you need a weighted blanket. That's what I did for my son. Yeah, my wife has one of those. I'm awful. I can't even tell you. I'm like, I can't, I wouldn't put myself under it. And it's not, I don't even know how to describe it, guys. Like, I'm all off with this stuff. I don't not. It's the weirdest thing about it is, this is the weirdest thing about it, is I don't feel tired to go to sleep. And if I get like 4 or 5 good hours of sleep, I don't feel like I need more. Like I'm up, I'm ready to go. And so I will do like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and then 17 or 18 hours awake. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, efficacy of sleep. Yeah, to those. Yeah, in deep cycles. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yep. Yeah, it's, guys, I'm telling you, it's funny that these are things. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this for a second, because I think this is a good thing. So we chat in these streams all the time, right? And we talk a lot of nonsense. Thank God, right? Thank God. But here's the bigger thing. Once we like get rolling, look at how much of our conversations are about literature, sleep health, dietary health, and my God, have I fallen off of that wagon. The first thing I need to take care of is my diet and exercise, because I am terrible at that right now. But it's, I've fallen off the wagon completely. Part of it has been, the stress of the campaign, and I still feel stress about it because I want it to keep doing better and better and better. And I want to, get better at YouTubing, and I want to make sure that, I'm doing everything I can for CG, like getting Mike Barron's intro together and all of that kind of thing. But outside of that, I need to make sure that I've got, that I'm getting out and I'm going for walks, man. My friend Michael, who was just in the chat recently, right? Michael actually like lost a ton of weight, and he was just kicking ass. I mean, he was just going for walks. He started eating better, and it's like, it really is that I need to get my ass up and go for walks. I do not have an excuse for not doing that, because I need to stay healthy. Obviously, like I need to stay healthy for my wife and kids. Obviously, she gets on me about that. Oh, that's right. Shanth Enjeti, Art, you have complete control. TV series is getting made. Do you let Billy Zane play Nosfero? Yeah, I'd be totally open to it. Here's an interesting one. Let's see. Efficacy of sleep is important. Sounds like edifying one another. That's right. So here's something for you. To think about. I don't think I've told anybody this. The model for Nosfero's face underneath the mask for me right now is Douglas Fairbanks Jr. So if you look up Douglas Fairbanks Jr., you'll get a really good sense of what the look I'm trying to get for this character. But Billy Zane, of course. I love Billy Zane, and I love the Phantom movie he did. I think it's great. I think he was a great superhero. He's got a great voice. He was really good at God, what's his name? Kit. Shoot, someone give me the Phantom's name. I can't believe I'm blanking on this. It's embarrassing. I should have my geek cred revoked, for God's sake. Billy Zane's cool. You will feel so much better after a good strenuous. Yes, I will, and I bet you it'll help me with my sleep too. You're absolutely right. I think it's because I'm totally out of shape, and I think that contributes to it. Got to, and it's gonna help my work so much too, like to get all that stuff under control. And it's funny too. Like the weirdest thing about these drawing streams is I always have to make sure that the lights that show good for the camera, show the artwork well for the camera, are not reflecting any pencil lead or any pen marks that I put down, because sometimes that can happen. So it can make it really hard for me to see what's going on. And like I said, it's a learning process. It's a learning curve, as the great Andy Smith would say. First Man 2, learning curve. Look at these 4 people. My favorite trailer I've ever cut was isolating out Andy talking during his the pitch under pressure, as I like to call it, and recutting the First Man trailer for him, because Andy's a mensch. I love that dude. Good dude. Let's see what we got here. Kit Walker, thank you, Apex Comics. What the hell is wrong with me? I mean, it's like the Ghost Who Walks, Kit Walker. How did I miss that? Dude, yeah, dude, I love you. What a great choice. Yeah, love Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Man's man, great look, hardcore, definitely lived up to his father's name. Brilliant stuff. Walks aid in digestion as well. Yeah, I got to get after that. John, so right. Drawn Sword Graphic says, I drink about 4 liters of fridge cold water a day from a glass bottle. got to drink more water. My wife watches me have dinner and she looks at me and she goes, "You didn't drink any water while you were eating. How the hell do you do that?" Guys, I'm telling you, I got to work on myself. I mean it. It's so true. Oh, I got a heavy bag hit. Yeah, I have a heavy bag in the basement. I love hitting the heavy bag. I love boxing. I'm a boxing fanatic. I wouldn't, if you get me when I'm lucid during the day and I'm not as tired, I have an encyclopedic like knowledge of boxing. I'm not the best I've ever met, but I'm no, actually that's not true. I'm not the best I've ever heard of. I'm probably one of the best I've ever met. So yeah, I know a shit ton about boxing. It's super good for stress relief too. Yeah, my son is pounding on the heavy bag now. He's like me. He's light. He's skinny, but he's not built like oh God, he's not built like Paul Williams. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not that tall and lanky, but he's on the lankier end. But like Paul Williams, he's got huge hands. He's got very heavy hands when he throws. I've had him hit the mitts with me, and he's like me. We both have heavy hands for our size. It's kind of interesting. Let me see here. John says, "Graphics Life Out, identifying yourself as outside the U.S. It's about a gallon." Yeah, that's funny. AIDS Xmas spread too. I'm gonna try to put that one together there, but we'll get there. Yeah, I mean it's so yeah, I know what you mean now. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely am suffering from that a bit. Yeah, there was a bit too much pie, and I'm not saying that as just an Ethan nod. There actually was a bit too much pie. A bit too much pie. It's weird because my wife has introduced me to pies I should have probably grown up on, but I didn't see. I was a strict apple and blueberry guy myself. But then she introduced me because she's a real, true blue Southern gal. She introduced me to key lime pie, and my mother-in-law makes a freaking amazing key lime pie. Just an amazing woman, and really proud of her. Creative artist too, actually sells a lot of shell art. She puts shells on mirrors, and they're like mandalas. Those things are amazing. But yeah, I'm super close with my mother-in-law. She's we've been through a lot together. There we go. And then put that together. And there we go. And yeah, just working in the anatomy on this stuff for me, just make sure I'm not missing anything. If you 100 pounds, you should be drinking 50 ounces of water a day. I have heard about 80% of Americans are dehydrated. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that at all. I am certain that I am not drinking enough water, although I did get myself a water bottle that I carry around with me, and I'm doing probably better than I ever have. But let me tell you this, guys, one of my worst addictions in the world, is soda. And I have had a terrible drinking tons and tons of soda, and I'm doing a lot better at it now. But the thing is, I don't know if this is like this where you guys are, but where I grew up in the South, it's a totally normal thing to have a Coke for breakfast, like with your breakfast, to drink a soda as a morning drink. And I was totally one of those people. Drank soda all day. And my teeth tell the tale, guys. And it's just freaking dreadful for you. And oof. Yeah. It's a tough thing to kick. Like if we don't have it in the house, and we tend to not keep it in the house, I'm fine. But it's like, and I have some pretty decent resistance, but man, I drank soda like people. I drank the same amount of soda that you're suggesting people probably should drink of water. It was not good, but it's just, oh man, way too much soda. My dentist just looked at me and was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Like, your teeth are a mess." I was like, "Yep, drank tons of soda." I love my dentist. He's a good dude. Let me see what we got here. Switch from soda to lemonade, then water if you can. Yeah. It's interestingly enough, I'm a really good cold turkey person. So if I stop doing something, I can absolutely stop doing something and go straight to water. I'd rather tolerate, those couple of days of headaches and things like that. I can handle it just fine. I think like the biggest missing component right now is I need to get more cardio. I need to get out walking. That's the biggest thing. because this is such a, we work at this desk. It's when I'm editing videos or any of that stuff, it's like hours in front of the monitor. And when I'm drawing, it's the same thing. And I know my wife would love it if I, went for walks with her more often. And she feels better when she walks. And we've just both been, we basically got to the holidays and we just collapsed. And I think, we're now just, for me, it was the end of the campaign. For her, it was the end of her semester teaching. And she's just, she was just done in, she was just so tired. You see here, Michael T, High Desert Comics. Good to see you, my friend. Need to kick soda again, switching to cocaine. Seriously, I bet you it's healthier with the way I drink soda. I kicked the soda habit about 4 years ago. I feel so much better. I don't doubt it, Apex Comics. Everybody says that that's the case. Yeah. I hate potato chips because I love them. I'm with you. How to Draw Comics. Yeah. Dan Lawless. Much respect. Yeah, it's rough, man. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, absolutely. I do. You know what's the funniest story? We hold hands when we go for walks, and we were going to pick up the kids. This is, of course, many years ago when they were in elementary school up the way. We were walking there, and I love New Englanders. This friend of ours, Mia, was driving by in a total Rhode Island accent, leaned out her window and went, like a couple of teenagers. She thought it was, she couldn't believe that we held hands as a couple when we went for walks. It's like, maybe that's a little bit of our Southern coming through, but oh God, that still makes me laugh. Whenever I'm out with Lauren and we're holding hands, I always look over at her and go, like a couple of teenagers. God bless New Englanders. New Englanders are fun. The thing I love about New Englanders is New Englanders and Jeremy, Lord Crackhead 33 can tell you this. New Englanders really love, like, vast majority, anybody working in contracting or any kind of hand skill thing. We love to work. We don't do well with idle time. It's like we just work constantly. Yeah, walking is better than running. I can tell you this. I'm going to be walking no matter what, so that's good to hear. Let's see here. Michael T, High Desert Comics says, hi, John and the rest of the chat. Omicron ain't no joke, by the way. Felt like garbage. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that for the past 36 hours, but on the mend already. Well, it's good to see that you're on the mend, my friend. I will not share that with my wife. She's not. I will definitely share that you're on the mend, but she's so stressed out about all of it because, she's a teacher and she just worries about that kind of stuff. Like, she worries about her students, she worries about her family, and I've heard that from people. When these things hit you, they can hit you hard. But I'm glad to hear you're on the mend. I can't tell you enough how glad I am to hear that. Listen, guys, it's like, I will tell you this, is that I want people to do what is best for them and take care of themselves the best way that's possible for them. I really do. And whatever that means. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I hope, and I don't seek to have any control over, how could I? But I really hope everybody is staying healthy and gets through it, if they catch it. Because I know it's rough. And I would say the same thing during a bad flu season like the one we had a couple of years ago that actually killed a young guy up the way. He had one of those immune system storms that takes you out. Perfectly healthy guy. And in fact, I think that's what made it worse. It was that really weird freak flu we had. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago, but I'm not sure. But I'm glad to hear you are on the mend. Like a hard-hitting flu. Yeah, I get the flu shot, and I still get the flu. And I before I got the flu shot, I would say I do think it did help with the flu a bit, because when I used to get the flu, I was done. Like, I was out. And this is when I was in shape. I was in bad shape. Staying hydrated, sleeping a lot. Good. John, yeah, the best time to go walking is when you do not feel like it. You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. You know what's so funny is that it's the same attitude I take with art. The best way to get in the mood to make art is to go to your desk, sit down, and start making it. And that's why I worked so hard to get this new studio set up that my wife and I have in here. God, I love those lines right there. Sorry, I got to share these with you guys because I am a nerd. Do you see that little crazy taper that I just put in right there? On that, it's right here. I freaking love when that stuff happens with the brush. Love it. It's so it's such a fun part of making art. And when you guys are looking at these books and you get to see these things, up close and personal, That's what's going to be fun. That's going to be one of the fun things about it. Yeah, I love art so much. I love other people's art. Love the whole thing. Apex Comics with the vitamin D3. Sorry, woo. Got to rest my eyes. I had a focus problem there. Vitamin D3, K2, monoclonal antibodies from a doctor can protect you against the coof. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. I've heard that that's the way to go, and that's definitely the route I will take if we find ourselves in that situation. Never took the flu shot except for 1 year. Guess what year I got the flu? Yeah, guys, listen. I will tell you that this is the same thing, right? I always tell people this is it's like I don't care. I never would want anybody to have to get a shot or have to do anything that they were they didn't want to get. But I will say this: I have a much simpler hope that I know is impossible. Just as a teacher, is I wish people would stop sneezing into my face for the longest time. I'm like, where did your mother not teach you how to cough into your arm or cover your mouth? It's incredible how many people still do that. Blows my mind. Like, don't sneeze in my face. Line endorphins kicking in. That's exactly right. That's right. Tron Sword Graphics. Same thing happened to my cousin. The 1 year she got the flu vaccine, she got a really bad case of swine. Oh yeah, but that's swine flu was bad. Yeah, God, is your cousin your cousin? I'm assuming your cousin is okay, which I hope is the case because that was no joke. I know some people who had that, and they'd had flus, and some of them have had some really bad stuff, and they said that kicked their ass. So yeah, that's rough. Let's see here. John says Michael T. High Desert Comics. Hear the flu shot correlation a lot. Yep. John, hello. Meg's Doodles, and oh, good, she's all right. Good, glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Yeah, you definitely don't want that. You definitely don't want that. It's I want to hear, listen. I spent a lot of time when I was growing up doing rounds with a family member of mine, and I spent a lot of time in the ICU, and so I saw like at a nurse's station. So I've seen a lot of things, and at the end of the day, I'm just one of those people to where it's like I know we don't have control over these things, but if someone's sick and if someone's not feeling well, if someone's recovering from COVID, I wish everybody the best, and I don't want anybody to have to catch these things. It is what it is, though. These things, it's almost impossible to live and interact in society and do these kinds of things. Goth, let's see here. She's like, gosh, Sean, so demanding. Please don't sneeze on my face. How dare you? I'll tell you one of my favorite college stories ever as a teacher. I will carry this with me till the day I die. So we had a South Korean student at the college who, if you know anything about the South Korean people, they're a lot like the Israeli people. They have like mandatory service that they have to do, because of, the threat from their northern neighbors. Really hardworking, talking about, I had to field strip a weapon. I had to learn all this stuff, like really good people. And I had a young lady from South Korea in my class who was a really hardworking, diligent student. And I had been over that at the start of all of my classes. I always tell people, look, if I get sick, if you get sick, you're going to miss a class or two. If I get sick, you're all going to miss classes. So don't burn money. Don't sneeze in my face. And I swear this was the funniest shit I've ever seen. This student was standing there, and she was standing off to the side of this student, like just behind her, went to sneeze. And instead of covering their mouth, they just turned their head, and without knowing that person was there, and they full tilt, just projectile sneezed right into this girl's face. And the funniest shit about that was she was like that. She reacted and then just kind of like casually tried to be stoic and deal with it. It was so rough. And I just paused, and the student turned around totally embarrassed. Like, I'm so sorry. And the student was like, it's fine. It's fine. And the student just looked at me, and I was like going, what did we go over? Seriously. I don't know. I grew up, there were cook spoons in my house. You had to learn that shit, but what are you going to do? Let's see here. She's better than the character is you are working on right now. It's good. It's good to hear that. Yeah, the character I'm working on right now ain't in good shape. Shanth, I would just look in their face and say, don't turn in your next assignment. You got an F. Go sit down. Yeah, I should have said that. Honest to God, I should have said that. Yeah, F for the day, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, back in the days when you could be honest with students, I remember one time that Pixar came to the campus, and I had this student who was absolutely a miserably unskilled student who, in spite of my best efforts, did not seem capable of taking criticism, probably shouldn't have been at art school. Back in the olden days, there were professors who used to give students quarters and say, go call your parents and tell them they're wasting their money because you're never going to be an artist. And you had to be either deal with that or toughen yourself up and get it together. Crazy times. But I did have a student one time who showed me his portfolio, who was terrible, barely could put lines together. And he asked me if I could help him show his portfolio to Pixar, who was coming to the campus. And I said, here's the help I can give you. Don't show your work to Pixar. You'll embarrass the school. And those are the kinds of things that people need to hear sometimes. People need a reality check. And if if you're in a situation where people ask you to be crazy for the self-esteem of people who aren't working and are just going to learn this elsewhere, it's how you get the American Idol that the American Idol auditions. How do I word this? Imagine if when horrible singers went on American Idol, Simon Cowell defended them. What an insane show that would be. That's what you get. Let's see. High Desert Comic says Dex save DC 15 failure results in ID 4 poison damage and nauseated status. Okay, interesting. Honest with the student, sad there's an attempt to abolish the truth. Well, the funniest thing is I told the students that I go, listen, if you want to have, and I used to say this up until the end, I would say things like this. If you guys want to have a great semester, or if you want to feel really great this semester, I will tell all of you, come up to me after class privately. You can tell me, I want you to lie to me and tell me my work is good and amazing. I'll even give you whatever grade you want at the end of the semester. It will save me time. I can focus on the students who actually want to be here and work, and it's not going to affect my career. It's going to affect yours. Like, if that's what you're after, don't make me try my ass off, ignore me, and then go psycho at the end of the semester when you don't get the grades you want. It's your money, you fools. Like, it's your money. And you'd be surprised what teachers go through. Like, we're arguing over why did I get a B plus and not an A minus, or arguing why I got an A minus and not an A. Like, at a certain point, it's like going, do you want my honest assessment, or do you want me to tell you the cholesterol you wish you would have? It's insane. Absolutely insane. And I just go, what the hell? Let me see here. Your drawing skills have to be top notch to work for Disney. Yeah, your drawing skill. I mean, shoot. My brother Gabe is working with a Disney animator who's doing his book Oath. And look at that stuff. It speaks for itself. It's gorgeous. Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, I'm in art school and I know people like that. I bet you do. D&D reference for a sneeze to the face. Sorry, went full nerd. That's absolutely acceptable. That's totally fine. Yeah, sometimes a sneeze to the face has to happen. Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing, right? You're going to find a lot of interesting people around the world doing a lot of fool stuff. That's the way it works. But we are under no obligation to be fools ourselves, and we cannot, in a free society, unless people are breaking the law, demand that people not be fools. I think the best thing we can do is just try to limit our exposure to it, and that's, if CG is a thing, that's what it is. It's like, look, they're going to be fools. You can't save these fools who want to be fools. Can't do it. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make something else. Like, if you're in an environment where people, and I'll give you the academic environment, if people go full tilt and adopt critical race theory, I can assure you there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. When the majority of people believe this is how it's going to go, like any bureaucratic institution, that's how it's going to go. You then have a big decision to make, whether you want to be a part of it. And if you don't, you have to build something on your own. And I got to a point where I realized that 18-year career working hard to get where I got, I could see where the road was going, just like Ethan could see with DC Comics. And I think he was right. And I said, I don't want to be on this this cultural Titanic, when it hits the iceberg, I would rather start trying to build a boat now and get off and see if I can make it a better boat, a bigger boat down the road. But I do not want to be in this situation when it goes full tilt. It's kind of crazy, you know. It's like one of the year I left, one of my favorite people who'd worked there forever. And granted, there were a lot of other things going on in their life. Our librarian left, and I just was like, oh my god, like you're seeing this massive. These people who are really involved in the culture are just like, I'm done. Like I can't do this anymore. And of course, you know, that's during those big pushes to decolonize bookshelves and all that other crap that's going on. Like I said, if people want to burn their own books, that's fine, but I don't want them burning mine. And that's how that goes. Let's see here. I'm probably missing a ton. Former Disney animator. He got out. Yes, thank God. I'm glad he's with us. That's all I can say. My preference was always the hard professors. Yeah, of course. And that's why the classes get popular. The problem is that the weird thing I noticed happening is that first you come in and you kick ass, and the best students and students who want a hard critique start taking your classes. But then, because you become almost like a popular brand, people want to take your classes because it's like Gucci to them or something. It's really weird. It's like, you know, Versace. It's a brand. Oh, I want to take Shanth's class because his class has the highest wait list. So they just want it because it's the best or the best in their mind, and they don't want to do the work. And it's really kind of a strange environment, like where I would go, like, why? Like I would try to scare people out of the class in the first couple of weeks back when I was back when I had the energy and there was some kind of administrative thing. I'd say, look, you don't want to take this class. You're going to fail. Go take an easier class. Like you'll be happier. You won't be as frustrated. You won't be disappointed. And, you know, get out of here. But unfortunately, people, you know, people just see it as a brand. Like there's some degrees from colleges that people get to say they have a degree from there. But you guys saw that Operation Varsity Blues when it caught like the people paying to get into colleges. That shit's going on everywhere with prestigious schools. People are utterly buying their way in because to them it's just a degree. I actually saw a wealthy international student at a very prestigious art school I taught at for a long time, 15 years I think it was, who showed me a website of their artwork, and they were drawing stick figures in my class. And I know for a fact they couldn't have made the artwork that was on their website. I know that for a fact. So they clearly must have hired someone to do work or stolen artwork somewhere to do it. I also saw a student plagiarize a Society of Illustrators piece that got a scholarship at that same prestigious institution. And when the institution and the Society of Illustrators was informed about it, they did nothing. So you really can't, you know, you can't expect much from people who are like, you know, when the police force are hiding the evidence of, you know, they're investigating murders and hiding evidence, which is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that as a metaphor, right? Is that what do you do in that situation? That's what administrators do, and that's what a lot of these elite, you know, competitions do. It's appalling. I showed it to people, and I said, "Yeah, they said that's fine. We don't care." Yo, what's up, Phil? How you doing? Phil in the house, my pulp brother from another mother. And another time, Stephen Rockwood. Hey, good to see you. God, the chat must have jumped. I missed you. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of love for Phil here in the chat, of course. Yeah, and hail Jeremy, of course, Jeremy Burtz. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, hey John, I came here for the palate cleanser. Oh God. So I don't even want to know what was happening elsewhere. Was the Jack show on or something? Yeah, I watched the Jack show as a palate cleanser for me. Let me see here. Okay, hail chat and shot. Sorry, I was watching Rob and Bancroft. Oh, nice, gushing over each other. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad that Rob is getting on board. I remember my advisor telling me everybody. Oh God, everybody likes Shanth. When I told her your class, I told her your class in my freshman year was my favorite. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, like this is the thing, right? It's great. Everybody loves Shanth except for the sabbatical committee. That would be my response. Yeah. It's one of those things to where and I love the students and I love teaching college, those who are motivated and were interested in being there. The only problem is that that is not what financially pays my family and that is not what. That's not how it goes on my end of things, and I think that's the toughest thing that students don't realize. Is the tuition that students pay colleges. Well, you guys know this from the comic book industry. The tuition that students pay the colleges do not go to teachers based on how successful they are at teaching students. A lot of those people are adjuncts who are making, they're not even making tuition a year, for God's sake. They're making, like, when I was teaching adjunct at a small college, this was my first job. I mean, I can't even tell people what I made. My son is 16 years old, and because I've made sure he's had the tools he needs to get good. He's actually incredibly accomplished at Blender. I think I've shown one of his videos on stream, and he just got his first part-time job doing Blender of historical things, recreations of things at 16, and he's making if he were to work a regular work week, but he's got high school he's still doing. He'd be making more than I made in my first 13 years as a college professor. So ponder that at age 15, or sorry, at age 16. So yeah, I'm a pretty decent teacher and helper of artists. I'm just taking care of that kid right now. So let me see here. Yo, Jeremy, Michael T, Rob, and Bancroft. Right, excellent. Hey, it's good to see you guys. Yeah, I love those guys. Rob and Michael are, I don't know, maybe I just like Australia, but they're two of my favorite comic skaters. They are. Rob's a real thoughtful dude, and love that guy. Good dude. And he was a part of my first bringing people on to my stream. So, it is what it is. Good dude. Good night, great stream, Shanth. All right, Apex Comics. Sleep fast, buddy, or sleep well is even more important. Yeah, very cool. Blender is awesome. Yeah, much love, Apex Comics. And Tommy's with us, of course, because he's partying. KSS. Hail, what it do, Shanth? Oh, it do late. We're at 3 hours now. I gotta step it up, guys. Come on. John knows I'm just kidding. Rob's proof. It does look nice. Oh man, I missed the proof. I have to stream, but maybe Rob will pop on here. I sent him the link, but I would love him to pop on for a second just to see the proof. Rob's book looks amazing. I know it's going to. The proof copy had really great colors from Bancroft. Michael's an outstanding colorist. One of my favorite colorists in Comicsgate, period. And I'm very, very, I don't want to say I'm picky about color, but I know color in terms of other artists that I love. And he's amazing. He's an amazing colorist. And he's a great writer, great artist, great everything. Love that guy's stuff. Let's see here. Sumathor, yeah, absolutely. We'll watch it later. Yeah, absolutely, man. Rob is cool. He just does great work, and I'm a massive fan of his sensibilities. Like he was talking about when he was looking at Hail KSSS, absolutely. He was talking about like the way that he collaborates with Michael. I think they've got a really great collaboration going. They just get great work out of each other in that. It's different than Michael's stuff. That's a really good question because I love Kyle Ritter stuff. I love Kyle Ritter stuff so much. All right, let's talk turkey for a second here. And I'm just so swamped. Rob's hair, though, is ridiculous. Oh my god. So I like Kyle Ritter so much that I actually I can't do it now, but I was practicing for a while. I got to get back after it of learning sign language so I could say my name is and then spell my name, which I can't do right now. And I am learning sign language, and I was working on vocabulary so I can talk about how much I like Star Blazers without typing it out, because I really want to try to learn how to do sign language, but I need somebody who knows sign language because it'll speed it up. The YouTube videos I'm learning are great, but it would be so much easier if I could, sign questions and learn that way. But I love Kyle Ritter's colors. I think they're great on Dale Keown. They're brilliant. So to me, I guess I would say the difference is it's the difference between what I love about John Singer Sargent and what I love about Mary Blair. Two completely different approaches to color. And Michael's, I would say Michael's colors, I personally like them better. I love Kyle Ritter's colors though. It's a personal preference in the way that color works with his style. And I think Kyle has got this really brilliant value focused aspect to his colors that I love. And Michael kind of lets the lines stand apart. And so I think that's why I respond to it. But I mean, I would be honored to work with either one of those guys. I think they're both incredible. It just shows how deep the talent pool roster is in CG. Let's see here. Let's see. Any education is an opportunity. One needs to use that to make it worth it. For some, it might be an ego boost. Yeah, with luck, they can make them more set up adults in the end. Everyone has different roads to walk. Yeah, absolutely. I would say, though, that those ideas and principles, in my experience, where I've been working, have been complete. And I'm saying this as someone who's married to an educator, loves the idea of education. I would say there's an active attempt to thwart people from doing that. And that that's what's so unfortunate about it, is that that your teacher will spend more time on the person who is more immature and more disruptive than they will spend on the person who is after that kind of education. People have often said it's, and I love the quote, it's not where you go to school, it's how you go to school. As I kind of learned from my son, there's enough of an education and things on YouTube and video to where a motivated student will get more out of that in some instances than they will in a traditional campus. And that's so depressing, because it should be the other way around. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm still going, Rob. I actually sent the link to you on Twitter, so you could pop in here and show me your proof real quick. All right. If you've got a drop of energy left, and it's cool if you don't, click the link, and I'd love to see the proof. I missed it on the stream, and I would really love to see it, because I just think you and Michael work so well together. But yeah, I'm still going, man. I've got to learn how to like toughen up. Yeah, I mean, no pressure. If he's wiped, he does not have to come in here. I need proof, says Sade Comics. Oh my God, you guys are too funny. Yeah, Rob's awesome. Rob and Gabe kind of in a glorious way put me on the spot where they're like, "Why isn't Shanth in the CG room, Ethan?" I was watching that. It was like, oh my God. I was trying to tell a charming anecdote, and my brothers were kind of like, "Ethan, come on, you got to get Shanth in here so he knows what the hell's happening." Yeah, hail Jeremy indeed. Let's see here, Zay comment. Rob's okay. Yeah, Rob. You guys are all great. You know, it's funny because a lot of times I know that there's a lot of really great stuff that's discussed in there and everything like that. A lot of times I don't know what the hell is going on. It's like people will talk about things that happen in those discussions, and I'm like, I have no idea. I'm not in any of those things. It's crazy, man. But it's cool. I mean, it's like, guys, I appreciate it. It was really nice of you to say that, and I appreciate Ethan saying he wanted to get around to it. It's Gabe got on me about that. Gabe was I was like, yeah, Gabe. I said, I don't want to put Ethan in a weird spot, and Gabe was like, squeaky wheel gets the grease. He was giving me a lecture on that. I love Gabe. Gabe's like me. He's all heart, man. He's a good dude. Am I great? There you go. El Sumo, everybody's giving Sumo Thore love. Let's see here. Hail Zaid, Hail Sumo, Hail Flyer Rex, Christian, Momentum, and yeah, am I great? Absolutely, I say. But it's very cool. It's very cool to see all the talent, and everybody's motivated, and everybody is so supportive. I really do love, and I was looking forward to it when he mentioned we'd be talking about Lethal Weapon this week. But I really am looking forward to our next Double Impact with Gabe, because I love the Lethal Weapon movies, and I've really, it's been nice to meet someone who's so supportive and is passionate about the same things. Yeah, Gabe is one of a kind. Agreed. Yeah, I love Gabe. He's a good dude and really fun to stream with. Oh. Yeah, here we go. What is up, Rob? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, mate. How you doing? Sorry,
I'm doing great. Kid
was just trying to get me to play. I'm like, just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're right. You're right.
Shanth and Enjeti are breaking up families, one family at a time. Jeez.
I sent you the link, mate, to come on our show, but I didn't realize you'd be going for like 2+ hours. So there you go.
Yeah, what am I at now? 3 hours. Yeah, I need to just catch up on some painting time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man. So yeah, let me see this thing. I'm dying. I got to make you full screen. This is so cool.
Yeah. So
where's my here we go. Wait, gotta make it full screen. Oh my god, man.
yeah, it looks great. The camera
It's
doesn't do it justice either.
beautiful.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic.
Holy cow.
Nice double there.
Oh my god. Hang on a
Yeah.
second here. Wait, I gotta take you off solo layout, and I want to do. Hold on one second. Pause for a second here. Let me do this one, and then I'm gonna switch you because you need to see. You got to see my reactions. Go ahead. This is so awesome, man.
Yeah,
Holy
no, it's
cow.
great, mate. I can't wait for people to get it. So really cool.
Oh my gosh, Rob, you must be so proud.
Yeah, man, it's taken a long time to get here, but we're here now, so just got to enjoy it.
Totally worth it.
That's the Kanan White and Clayton Barton cover. So,
oh my god,
this is the Dan Frager, Shelby Robson, Matt Yaki cover.
So good.
A nice little virgin there, and yeah, black and white edition too. Just Rob Willis. It's looking really good. I love the trade dress. I love the trade dress Mike's put on it. I don't have one of the other copies here, but not for the first two issues. This was just like yellow without any of the like scarring. But Mike's put this on now. It's got like a gradient and it's got this scarring. It just looks so good.
He is so great at pre-press.
He is, yeah. And
I mean, his books, I mean, you guys are such an amazing team, both streaming and then like collaborating creatively. Oh my god, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it really clean, Shanth. I like it like black, black. Just show me what the comic is. And yeah, I mean, it's just seriously, man. Like, what does the term mainstream even mean anymore? Do you know what I mean? This is like next level shit, man. Like, the Comicsgate library is some of the most beautiful work you're ever gonna see. It's incredible, the consistency of quality, man. That is beautiful. Yeah, and I love this like dialogue that where is it? I can't even see over there. Yeah. That Eric. Yeah, no, it's because it's reversed. Yeah. Eric and Mike have done. So I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool. Let me tell you this. I weighed in on one of those polls. I forget whose it was. It could have been yours. I can't remember. But those polls that go up, or it could have been your boy Zach actually. You know, what it is? Would you rather have a book on time, or I don't care where it is? I'm a huge time quality person because the books I have around me on my library are like, we can have PDFs in this day and age. We can have images. When I buy a book, it's like archival, like it's for life. I want this book. And that's freaking amazing. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. I agree. Yeah. Like, I think there's a balance. You got to try and manage yourself so you get your books out better. I think Rob, I don't know the Australian legal system, but if it's like the American one, please don't ever take the stand in your own defense. I'm begging you. Please. Because I'm like going, it's all about the quality, and Rob's like, just the same, I could have been there that night. Maybe I did kill it. You know, I'm like, I know, man. Just say you weren't there. I wasn't there. Yeah, and like that's it. That's beautiful, dude. I love. Yeah, Tommy saying you're selling me on the back black cover. To me, it looks so clean when you turn the comic. That's how I like it, man. I think we get a little bit. Sometimes we get a little bit away from what is important, and I just want to see the comic, and I think it looks great. And I know that there's like 200 plus people picking up all three issues, so they're going to see it for the first time, and it's awesome. It's incredible. I'm wrapped. I'm really happy. So it's elegant, and it's got this kind of that black cover gives it this kind of sophistication that lets you know in an interesting way. Although it's like when Ethan puts the all caps logo on, I think it's got this quality, but with that, it really kind of seems to let you know this is an independent, like this is an artist work. Like the person who wrote this story and crafted this story and brought everybody on board and orchestrated it. The team that's putting this together, you're getting something that is different than, it's not disposable as an art form. It's something you're going to keep. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny because this is the first version of it. I have a whole collection over there of the Tintin facsimile editions by Hergé that are the paper it was on, which reproduces the color differently. Think about how much thought you put into pre-press and how much thought you put into how it looks. When you get that proof and it just is awesome and it nails it, like it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Well, these printers are the best printers that we have access to. And I can only go off what other people say. And Clayton said when he got his copy of Replicator 1 that it was better quality printed than anything he's received from Comicsgate. And this is better than that, because this is the guy Michael found. He's using the top of the line, most up-to-date digital printers. It's on paper that is so sexy. It's amazing. Like, I could have gone with the guys that did the job last time, and they did a great job. They have that, like Clayton said, it was one of the best printed books he had. These guys cost $2,000 more, and it's worth it. So
it's beautiful. I mean, this is the thing about it too, is that I'm looking at it through a StreamYard. Hold on, I gotta see. People are like, okay, like, you know, you don't have to be big, and I'm like, no. And now I got to see the book. I'm here to see. Oh my god. And that's the value is so great. That reads at range. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, like, about what Bancroft's done with the colors, right? There's lots of transitions in the book from different sequences, different scenes. Like, and you got like these nice blues, and then you flip to this battle sequence, and there's all these reds and oranges, and then it transitions again to like another sequence in a dystopian kind of green. And then again, it goes to another kind of different palette, and it looks sick. Like, it looks really good. Yeah.
I mean, see, because we were having a discussion before you came in here, or maybe you caught it, I don't know, but we were talking about, and I said, I think that Michael is my favorite colorist in CG. And someone was saying, well, what do you think about Kyle Ritter? I'm like, well, what do I think about Matt Yackey? Like, I'm not saying that's, do you get what I mean? Like, if you're watching an Olympic race and we're talking about tenths of a second, it's not like the person who is your second favorite colorist, you know, isn't a good colorist. But when I saw the colors he was doing on your book combined with he has this ability to use color to both represent subtle shifts in value, but then also use very pure colors on his own work. He has a tremendous amount of range as a colorist, and he knows how to bring out the best in other people's work. And it's incredibly high quality stuff. And then just when you add that pre-press element to it, it's so readable at distance, which is so important with a comic book, that you can be able to read the story that's been written, you know?
Yeah, like, I think I'm going to hire him to do pre-press again. He's going to be too busy to do the colors for the next one, which is fine. But it's just, he's great to work with. He makes it all so easy, and he's trying to, which is like me, he's trying to get every little percent that he can out of the book, like just 1% here and 1% there, and it adds up so much. If we can just improve it by 1%, 2%, then it's a massive improvement overall. And he does such a good job.
He does, because he cares so much. You know, he cares about. You know, it's the coolest thing, and you guys should be proud of this too. And I think this is happening everywhere, but. You know, there's a lot of this in Comicsgate, but in particular, the little sphere that you guys have been building and been creating, the amount of attention to detail and the drive of the specifics, it's not coming out of some, you know, cold technical thing. Like, there's a lot of passion behind the intelligence that's brought to bear on the making of these things. And you need that passion, you know, to keep that going all the way through this process. So when you get that, you know, when you get that final book in your hand, is this your favorite in terms of print quality and everything of the books you've done?
Yeah, I think this is the best print quality. Like I said, man, the previous books were fantastic. Like the print quality was really good. This is better than that. So
Yeah.
I mean, they were awesome, and now they're even awesomer. Awesome,
Yeah.
more awesome. So yeah, and like, oh, I don't even know what to say. It's just like there's a black and white version too, which I think is really
It's
cool.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the book looks great. I can't wait to start shipping it. There are a couple of minor details we need to fix, but that's just stuff like the signatures here are too large. We're probably going to just shorten them a little bit, and just like a minor thing on one of the inside cover pages. So like this stuff will take like 5 minutes, and then we're going to print off 2,250 copies, which is a lot for, you know, for me. So
it's a huge success. It's a huge success, and I'll tell you this. I mean, I'm sure you'll get what I mean when I say this, but this is what, when I, was dreaming about self-publishing comics and doing independent comics as a kid, books like what you're showing me are what I dreamed about when I was a kid existing. And you're making them exist, and you know how much work is involved in it, man. You know how much love for comics, this art form, is in it. And congratulations. This is so great. You made my night, man. I love
Thank you, dude. Like I really appreciate it. Yeah, this one took an absolute just ridiculous amount of work to get it where it needed to be, but we're there now. We can enjoy that, and now people will be able to get their hands on it very, very shortly. That's the important thing, and I hope everyone likes it. It's the best I can do right now, and I hope that my best will improve. And I think that's what we all should be aspiring to do the best that we can. So
yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm glad. It's really great to see, because and I know they all know this, but you really care about getting these things out and delivering on all of those promises. But I think the overarching promise, the biggest one, that everything else hangs off of, is you want to make sure that people get quality. And I think everybody knows how hard you've worked to give them quality.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not an EVS. I'm not going to have a book of that quality, that detail, and that detail is mainly one of the things. But it's going to be the very, very best that I can do, and I'm going to do everything to make sure it is the best that I can produce. And it looks fantastic, dude. It looks so great. I think we've done really, really well here.
Oh, congratulations, man. Go celebrate with the family. Man. Do not let me break up a family over my streaming greed. And have a great rest of the day, man.
Okay? We're going to go throw some boomerangs at some kangaroos. So we'll catch you all later. See you, mate. Right, thanks for having me on.
Have a good one. Congratulations. Bye.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
Well, there you go, guys. What an amazing... God, I love Comicsgate. It's I maybe I haven't said that enough this stream. God, look at my big fat face there on frame. I got to do something about that. Let's bring that weight. Well, we got rid of it there. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Where is it? Bring it down. Nope. All right. Well, I may have just boomered that into oblivion, but that's what you guys know me for. So I'll have to track that down at some point. Where did I put that? Is it here? Can I even see it? This is so tragic. All right, whatever. I'll sort that out later, guys. I'll sort that out later. But it's so great to see people who are so passionate about what they're doing in CG and making this stuff happen. And I can't overstate, for me anyway, how much it means to get to see. Let me see if I can see this here. Wait a second. Edit. Oh, there we go. Edit, undo. Oh, I'm so dumb. How could I not have figured that out? Undo, transform, edit. I did all these other things when I could have done that. Good God. That's why I shrunk it down. That's terrifying. There we go. Let's get that in the corner, and then we'll reduce this. The virtual camera is such a great feature. Let's make that a lot smaller. But this is the thing, guys. That's what. All right. Take care, Rob. It's good to see you in the chat, man. And congratulations again. But this is the thing.
Oh yeah, man. I bring the forehead. I bring the forehead as well. Like I told you, my son looked at Michael during one of the streams, and I don't know who this is racist against. But he goes, wow, Dad, he's like a white you. And I looked at him and I was like, his face isn't as fat as mine. How dare you say that about Michael? But maybe I can give him a run for the forehead money. I'm working on it, guys. Believe me, it's growing all the time. That forehead, that hair is running for its life right now. But yeah, yeah, I'm legit excited to see the series. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, guys, we all know this. It's there is a lot of love for Rob in Comicsgate, and it's well earned, it's well deserved. He's all heart, man. I mean, he believes in this shit. He means it just like I do, and it's so important, And yeah, exactly. Well said, John. I don't know that we get to choose what comics speak to us. I don't know. I think that's just something we feel aesthetically. And what I love is having comic book brothers and having people who are backing my books and supporting my books. I know it's going to be a struggle to move that book as far as I want my book as far as I want it to go. And I'm willing to put that work in. But I will tell you this right now, when I see the success of my friends and the people who've been so supportive and kind to me, it had to happen sooner or later, right? But yeah, when I see people who are successful and who are doing, I had to boomer that once before the night was over. I when I see that kind of stuff, it inspires me so much. Yeah, seriously, guys, this is how bad it is. So the weather is really crazy here. I have terrible arthritis. So when I go to reach for things, I'll just knock them over now. It's so bad. That's why I keep my water and everything on the other side. Yeah, boo, ring, back shop. Yeah, I kicked myself from the chat. I was like, I've had enough of this. But when I see the success that Rob is having, it's the same thing. If you go back to the start of the stream, and actually, I will tell you this. One of the things I want to do with my channel, if it's possible, yeah, absolutely, boomer moment. One of the things I want to do, if it's possible, with my channel, you talk awesome, Rob. You absolutely do. Is I want to make sure that I'm doing, I'm coming up with interesting ways to promote campaigns. And so a lot of you guys know, I had Dan. Let me move this camera back. I can never get good distance with all of my gear here. But one of the things that was really fun to do was to promote Dan Plagle's book, The Goblin Girl. And so what I'm hoping to do is try to come up with more trailers and interesting ways to show trailers. So I started off this stream with I've been doing taking people's trailers and editing them down in some instances. I mean, the stuff I've been doing for Ethan forever, just to give a little bit of punch. And now I've started to do things like this. So I'm going to put this up and show this to you real quick and see, I won't show the whole thing, but I'll give you a sense of what I'm doing here. So let me go into here, and then I'll show you one of the things I've been doing. Here you go. So what I'm doing is I'm putting together trailers, and I'm putting things together so that I'll have a little bit of an intro.
No Sphero.
And so then I can go in and make little short videos where it's like, this preview has been approved for some funny thing like that. So maybe I'll do those before the stream is actually timed to start, so that I can start getting more people's work there. If you want to get campaign into good numbers, run it outside of the Christmas time. Yeah, absolutely. End in Q1 or late Q3 is the best time. Yeah, I know. I think there's a lot of things like that I'm learning. The biggest thing is that I just needed to, my wife's favorite expression, I desperately needed to rip the Band-Aid off, you know, and just do it, because I've been holding back on, I haven't had the freedom to be able to feel comfortable saying whatever I wanted to say in my previous job, which is funny enough because the stuff isn't, it's just basic stuff you'd expect to be able to say. And it's one of those things to where I you know, I've been doing what I've been doing. It's not like I've been, you know, not doing stuff for Comicsgate for a while. But I got to the point where I really wanted to do a book, and I wanted to do the book on my terms and know I could do what I wanted to do, say what I wanted to say. And even just since the launch of this book, guys, it has been a major transformation. And, you know, that started in June, or I think it was July, the first week of July, when I basically handed in my letter of resignation. And, you know, for me, like, I wanted to be all in, and I wanted to make sure that whatever work I'm doing outside of my CG work wasn't work where people were going to tell me what I, you know, where I would feel frankly uncomfortable, and where people believe in certain things that are very antithetical to Comicsgate, because I knew that would be very dangerous for my career if and when I got somebody who was not interested in the success I was having. And so, you know, that's the thing that this has been about for me. And, you know, I could have, I basically, you know, it was a leap of faith. I know Ethan talks about that with him when he did it. And I think it was probably far, in many ways, I can't imagine how intense it was for him. But I never would have known I would meet people like all of you guys in the chat who are awesome. You know, KSSS, John, Sumo Thori, Tommy, all of you guys who've been tirelessly promoting stuff, Tommy. It never goes unnoticed. Michael T, High Desert Comics, John again, Rob, of course, the Replicator, Meg's Doodles, who I think I know from before, Michael T Comics. You know, it's like, look at all these guys: Zayd, Phil, my brother, Steven Rockwood, Gabe, who I got to say, Gabe is one of my favorite colorists also, by the way, my brother Gabe. But it's like, I would have an easier time if someone could point out to me who some bad colorists were, because I'm seeing some great stuff out there. But all of you guys, Jeremy Burtz, you know, it's incredible to see you guys in the chat. And I have to tell you, if I had known when I started this whole thing, you know, that I was going to meet people like Michael, who I met like just out of nowhere when I reviewed his book, The Lucid. Sometimes I feel like things are just meant to happen. I just happened to get The Lucid in the mail. I did a review. I was about to launch my book. Everything was so quick. For my first appearance on his channel, he didn't even know I did Ethan's intro videos, for God's sake. It was amazing. Like, you could actually see him learn that on that stream. Joe actually already knew. So that was it was amazing how that stuff worked out. But it would have been so much easier to have made that decision if I had known what an amazing welcome I was going to get inside of CG and what the support was going to be. We were just kind of blown away by that stuff. KSS, how else will we learn SS? Of S's are based on the location from which they are applied for. There you go. Yeah, it's one of those things, guys. Seriously, you know, it is, and you are awesome. Absolutely, you are very great and awesome. But Phil and I are talking back and forth on Twitter all the dang time, you know, about art and stuff like that, and our attempt to you know, just kind of push all of this stuff forward. And it makes it easier. You know what I mean? It makes it so much easier. Yeah, some might say kismet, and I absolutely will, or serendipity, you know, which from my Campbell experience, which I'm sure you know too, you know, is a story about a family trying to get to Sri Lanka, which was Serendripa was the name at the time, Isle of Silk. And I do sort of feel as though I'm with the people who are interested in talking about books and pop culture and pulp and the ability to push things and free expression in a way that is huge. And I guess if I was going to say one thing about, you know, this real quick, I'm going to get up and grab a book real quick, guys, if you'll indulge me. Hang on a sec. And I'm just reaching for a couple random things here. Let me see if I can find it. Got two right here that come to mind. When people ask me what's possible in CG, and I know we always are talking about what's possible, I think anything is possible. And outside of the you know, grips and books like that I love, and artists like Tim Vigil, this right here, one of the biggest pop culture phenomenon, you know, turns into a movie and an action figure line, and I now can't think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without thinking about Shane Davis's Christmas Story. And God, Shane, if I ever get to meet Shane Davis, Shane, let me tell you, I wouldn't want to, but we could swap so many stories about shit like that. You have no idea. I feel like I feel like you and I have a lot in common in that way. But this is the thing, right? This right here is possible in Comicsgate. This right here is possible in Comicsgate. All of these incredible indie books I grew up loving, things like The Rocketeer, which is sitting over there on my sofa, they're possible in Comicsgate. And I don't know what Nosfero will mean, to people inside of the pantheon of great Comicsgate characters. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Yes, I got to get Kelsey one too. I think Kelsey's like, oh God, yeah. Guys, I think about those intros all the time, man. I really do. I'm pretty sure Ethan knows that, like how much I care about, the channels and the intros and helping him out. But I really hope he knows that. I really hope he knows it's all from the heart, and it's not with any expectation of anything. I really care about Comicsgate, and I never stop thinking about ways I can try to help with those intros and videos. It's how I'm wired, man. It's like what I'm about. And I know Gabe gets that, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, Born on the Bayou comes to mind. Of course, yeah. Born on the Bayou. But then also the problem is that so does The Big Lebowski. It's tough, man. It's tough with Kelsey. There's so many things that come up. Like I have to make sure that I got to make sure I figure this stuff out, and it's like reinvented Stan Lee as possible in CG. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the next Stan Lee, I think Ethan in many ways when it comes to comic book advocacy is doing Stan proud. I would say that. And I don't say that lightly because I have a tremendous amount of respect for Stan Lee. If someone were to ask me, maybe this will be one of my thoughts for the evening when we talk about Comicsgate and we talk about art. I honestly think that, when, even though, he says it kind of tongue in cheek, when Ethan talks about being, the Todd McFarlane of comics back, in the day when he would joke about, saying that, because obviously Todd McFarlane's still alive. I think he's more accurate than he knows. I think in many ways he is currently the Todd McFarlane of comics. And I think that Todd McFarlane currently is the Stan Lee of comics. He's one of the best advocates for the art form, and he's still crushing it, and he's still expanding what it is, and he's still out there talking after all of these decades. And I wonder, I don't think it's too much to say that Stan might have thought a similar thing, because I know those two were close. The Big Lebowski. Yeah, it's guys, I mean, so much thought goes into these things. So much thought goes into them. I mean, okay, I'll show you guys something. I don't think Ethan would mind me showing it because people keep asking me about the process. Actually, I don't know if I can do it though, just technically. At some point, I watch the streams when those things are on, because I'm a comic skater. So I love to watch Ethan streams. I love to watch in Celevision. I did 3 or 4 versions of that intro before I was happy with it. Ethan was cool with it, but I felt like it just kind of needed more push. I watch in Celevision while I draw, while I work, because again, Comicsgate, man. And the thing about it is that it was so funny, because when I did the Dale intro and he showed it, I was reading the comments and reading Ethan too, and Ethan was kind of like, "Why is his face all weird?" And it's because I was taking a 480 resolution file, and I was blowing that file up to like 5 or 6 times its size, because Dale was so small on camera when he was doing all that stuff. And so, but I went back in and kind of de-effected it a little bit and just tried to get it as clean as I could. But I'm listening to the comments and I'm going in and re-editing these videos. It's so important, so important. And then let me just read some of these too. I love the original TMNT. Yeah, with all the red masks. I love that stuff. The pizza, cowabunga stuff never did it for me. Yeah, I wish they hadn't changed I love, that IDW tried to put out a hardcover, a really nice hardcover of these books, but I really wish they hadn't changed the Shredder's costume to blue. Like, it's always going to be red in my mind in the original comics. Like I still have the original first
graphic novel, which is one of my favorite pieces of art ever. I bought a Kevin Eastman signed print of it. Love that stuff. Let's see here. Replicator says, cheers to Mothora. Yeah, absolutely, Rob. Lots of love for you here in the chat, man. Where's the Bonnie Lebowski? I'm sure it's down there. Let me take another look. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's so like, yeah, it's okay. So I've been doing some work and some thinking on Mike Barron's, and I think Mike Barron's may be a lot more along the lines of, it's so hard to, like, Aaron Lopresti's is one of those moments of just, I had no prompt for that, guys. I just had Aaron Lopresti do an intro for him, and I think it's one of the best ones I've ever made. I love Anna's too. Anna comes from the deep lore, the suit that she wore to the wedding, and I'm glad Anna loves it because Anna's great. My daughter thinks Anna's really cool, and you know, is a big fan of hers. She started drawing eyes. She plays. My daughter's awesome. I love her to bits. But she started drawing eyes in watercolor because of Anna's oil paintings and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's like everybody is so cool. And I sent it to Anna, and Anna got to see it, so that made her really happy. My daughter thinks I'm cool because Anna backed my book, so you know, it's awesome. Waiting for the great stories about family, especially fathers. Yeah, that's a deep element that I'm hoping CG is the place where that will be explored. It will be explored. I'm hopeful that Alien Alamo leads the way. Yeah, that was another trailer that I did a recut of. I don't know if you guys remember, but that on the first Comicsgate Kings episode, they played two trailers that I recut. They played Andy Smith's recut trailer, and they played that I just sent because I love Andy Smith. And they played Graham's, actually. Hang on one quick second here, guys. If you'll indulge me again, I know it's like it makes for a dead stream. But I want to just see if I can find it. Hang on a second here. File, find. You just type in. I may not have it downloaded. You just see here. Is this it? Hang on one quick second. Let me just see if this is it. Yeah, that is it. Hang on a second, guys. I'm going to put this here. And then I misspelled Lebowski. I love how everybody's like, yeah, because we're sticklers for that. Hang on one quick second. And let me see if I can make this happen while I chat here. Add video clip. And now I'm going to go to desktop. And then we're going to look for Alien Alamo. There it is. Okay. Whoops. So when I was looking at Graham's trailer, I wanted to add audio to it, but I know that Graham knows his firearms. He knows his weapons. Mike Barron is hard due to his own storied past. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, it's got to be something. It's just got to be something fun, and I have some ideas just based on, like, a lot of it. I try to build this stuff off of Comicsgate lore, so that if you've been sticking around Comicsgate for a while, you get some of these jokes. But then it also has to be funny if you're not Comicsgate, and sometimes I do a better job than other times. Like, I think Cecil's is great. Like, the personally, I love that. I put a ton of time to get the little subtle animations of his face and the rainstorm and everything. Like, I had to have spent 14 hours on that thing, if not more. I mean, guys, every one of these things I do, like, you know, when I don't have the money to back campaigns, you know, it's like, what is it? A tenth of your money or a tenth of your time. I try to put in crazy hours. Like, the amount of hours I put into those videos is a lot. But let me see. I think it may have loaded by now. Let's see if it's there. Oh, it did. Cool. So I want you guys to see this. This is the Alien Alamo video that I did. Oh my God, John, that's actually a part of it. Let's see. Shanth, did you read Baron's Badger run? I love that. No, I haven't. But I was reading the Punisher run when I was a kid. So, guys, I want to show you this and see if you guys can sort of tell this. But when I went and did the recut for Graham Nolan's trailer, because Ethan said initially, he's like, I can't play this trailer on the stream. It takes too long for a few of the videos. So I was like, okay, I'm going to cut these down. And so I cut Graham's down, and then I researched every gun as best as I could to get the actual audio. I found YouTube videos of people firing the various guns to try to make everything have a legitimate sound to the firearms he was using and of the time. And so here you go. I just want you guys to listen for the subtle elements of the guns in this for me and see if you notice it. Hopefully it'll work. So yeah, so when I was working on that, one of the big things I was trying to do was I was trying to get that the fact that, like, you know, what the particular rifle that the guy was using, that the sound isn't going to be as dramatic, you know. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, SD. I appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, for me, that was absolutely what it was. You know, it was yeah, that's a really good, like, you understand how I think, which is it'll totally be my sense of humor. But like, for me, some of the best things I've come up with for Ethan's intros have been things like the pouring of the alcohol for his unique body chemistry. Because I know Cecil's a classic comic book fan. He's got an encyclopedic knowledge, and he would have been, you know, he would understand that reference. But it's also just a great, like, Cecil's coming. And there's another great Cecil intro, by the way, by somebody else that I love as well. But the idea of it flashing Cecil and the danger thing just gets people really pumped up for the show. And that's the stuff. Yeah, Cecil knows. Absolutely. In fact, I think my campaign would be at 6 figures if you know, if the power of Cecil was in me. I don't know. Maybe I just have to do more work on myself for that. Let's see here. John, the gunshots were good because it was the jump scare style, like a lot of movies. Yeah, I always try to think of these things of, if somebody, which is kind of hard to imagine, but if somebody doesn't know Graham Nolan's work, like, that's the other thing I put in the trailer. Huge, if you'll notice, I put, like, industry legend Graham Nolan and, like, his resume of things he's done, because you couldn't put that in a trailer. Like, I could make a 4-minute trailer for Graham Nolan, not even for his book, because he's done so much. Just an amazing guy. And, you know, it's funny, like, he gave some stream where he was talking about what he loves, and he mentioned his wife and how long they've been married. And I wrote in the chat, yeah, my wife and I will be married, you know, I think I wrote, like, at the time it was like, tomorrow we'll have been married 21 years. And he took the time in his comment section to wish us a happy anniversary. I mean, you got to love those guys. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, John, no worries, man. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It was not, I read, I knew what you meant. It's there to kind of, you know, I'm not trying to fake the audio of the gun to make it something that it's not. But hey, listen, guys, it's like this. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming in here, guys. Hit the like button. I really am making, like, an effort, and I mean this more as a sign of work ethic, not as a sign of just the destination. I'm working hard to try to earn 1,000 subs so that we can do more. We've already gotten to the point to where, and I need to use it more, I can do community posts inside of here, which is great for us. I'm going to be posting more artwork and things in there because I like having, you know, things inside of the YouTube community. But thank you guys for getting the word out about this channel and for tuning in and being here. You're officially a part of the longest stream I have ever done. So, you know, just shy of 4 hours, and 2 minutes shy of 4 o'clock in the morning for me here. My wife may or may not kill me. But if she thinks she can, try to bring it, you know, might be surprised. You know, I'm a tough customer to kill. But this is the thing. Yeah. Let's see here. Tommy says, the audience here is coming from YouTube. They have different backgrounds. It's good to go with expectation that they do not know who Graham is. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, guys. But yeah, I'm here at it's 4 a.m. here. This is my longest stream, but, you know, we're Comicsgate. We got to stream big. That's just the way it is. But I want to thank you guys for being here. Stay gold. Hail to all of you. Hail to the chat. You know, much love, Phil. I know, Phil, I know what you're laughing at. I know what you appreciated. Yeah, CG has stamina, man. You know, we last long, and, you know, and we are long, and that's just the way it is. The high tea flows through CG. Yep, I say sleep on Shanth at your own peril. That's exactly right. I sleep with one eye open when I am asleep.
you know, and like I said, you know, you got to bring it in order to get it, but it might not be that easy to get. So always know that. You guys are welcome, John. You're very welcome. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to be painting my brains out and trying to make the greatest CG book I can make. And I want to say thank you to Michael Bancroft for popping in, and he works like a maniac. So much respect for what he brings to Comicsgate. He promotes people, you know, we met so quick, and he's been such a huge part of this whole thing. But I also want to say, you know, congratulations to Rob on an incredible book. I know what a big deal it is to get that proof, and how conscientious he is about giving his customers and his backers the best book possible. He really has gone the extra mile, and he really is just an exemplar of everything I think that CG can be. And so, yeah, absolutely congratulations to Rob, and much love to everybody here in the chat. And thank you, Sumo Thori. I do appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. Keep the brains, just paint. Absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely right. Okay, take care, everybody. Much love. And I'm going to close out, as I always do, with my Special Cruise song that I composed just for them. And you all know it well. Peace, love, and stay gold, guys. And I'll see you soon.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
You're not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
See what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No guts, huh?